Hello, listening people.
Witam, everyone.
You are listening to Spin Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. My name is Ryan Sliwinski.
And I'm Bartek. Will Ryan complain that I'm not saying my last name this time?
Yes, the answer is yes, I will complain. Bartek, say your last name for those to prove that you are in fact a person.
It's the Kasprzyszak, Kasprzyszak.
Of course, and as you can tell, we have interesting names, and that links into why we're called Spin Polish. Likingly because we're always spitting, and we both happen to be Polish. Is that not right, Bartek?
Yes, it is. That is right.
So is this a musical episode for you? You're going to sing everything you say? I'd love to see you do that.
No.
So we are here to present Unappreciated Masterpieces, which is a show in which we do audio commentaries for feature-length movies that need to be talked about. These are movies that have been forgotten, but not completely forgotten. They're movies that are just lingering in the psyche of the public. They're ones that people know, but not ones that people love as much as they should. We find movies that we believe to be masterpieces. We believe that an important piece of entertainment or art, and we hope in this show to talk about the intricacies of these movies and the creators and all of the stuff that lead into a film that we will be talking about. Bartek, what will be the masterpiece that we'll be talking about today?
Today, we are going to do the classic film Dzielnica Lakeview.
Oh, shit.
Dzielnica Lakeview.
I look, I don't speak Polish, which I imagine is what you're speaking, yeah? You're speaking Polish?
You want to learn some words?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, fingernails, paznokcie.
Okay. So, what are we watching
Pen
there?
is długopis. Well, the film that we're watching today, Dzielnica Lakeview, is Lakeview Terrace.
So, why is the Polish word before Lakeview?
Because it's Polish sentence structure.
Ah.
Yeah, you might notice, like, if you watch a lot of foreign language things, like, if you pay attention to words that are, like, not language exclusive, like names or places, you'll be like, let's say the subtitles say, Tokyo is a fine place, but in the Japanese they'll be like talking forever and then they'll mention Tokyo at the end. So it's like, oh, the subject is mentioned later in the sentence that it would be in English.
You see, this is the intricacies. So we're doing Lakeview Terrace, the 2008 thriller with Samuel L. Jackson. But we don't always do these alone, do we, Bartek? On the odd occasion, yes, but we are usually joined by a guest. This time we're joined by a special guest. Bartek, who's our special guest?
Correct.
I mean, all guests are special.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Samuel L. Jackson, the L, if I'm not mistaken, does that stand for Lucas?
You're incorrect. Yeah.
Am I incorrect? Oh, sorry, I went to school with a guy also named Samuel L. Jackson, and his middle name L was Lucas.
So we're joined by Samuel Jackson?
The second closest thing to Samuel Jackson, Luke Peverelle.
Hey guys, it's great to be here on the show for the first time.
You've been here many a time.
It's true, I'm lying.
So Luke is one of our most recurring guests and
This
is
is
sometimes a
appearance number
co-host. Sixth, you know?
Sixth, God.
Unlucky because it's not
Sold.
7. So Luke Peverelle, the
Yo.
Italian boy who's also Australian, who's joined us for Kangaroo Jack.
Is your first name Lucas?
It is not.
It
Okay.
is Luke Free Jones.
That's true.
Wait,
Ryan
really?
knows.
No.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, he said yes, Ryan.
Oh, well, I'm wrong then.
Well,
So
on my
Luke Free...
7th outing, we'll figure it out.
Luke
lucky
Free,
number.
you're joining us for Lakeview
That's right.
Terrace, the 2008 movie with Samuel Jackson. Now, before we all get into the movie, including you, the audience, I think we should all discuss our backstory for the movie. First, you, the audience. Yeah, that was good. That was
very interesting.
I didn't expect that one about the Ku Klux Klan, but yeah, that was really good.
Mm.
So,
Yummy.
my backstory with this movie, I'll dive straight in. I saw the ads when it was coming out, the trailers, and I went, that looks like an interesting movie. And my memory of it which you can listen back to certain episodes of this show because I brought this movie up in certain episodes, is completely different to any of the trailers. In my memory, I remember like Samuel Jackson's like a cop, which is what happens. He's a neighbor, yeah, that happens. But for some reason, in my brain, I thought it was like, oh, the neighbor comes over and asks him for a cup of sugar, and he just loses his shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My backstory is our Starsky and Hutch episode. That's what you said, and that's all I knew about it.
And it's not that at all. But what about you, Luke?
Well, I honestly thought this was going to be a lighthearted, this means war between neighbours. And
Funny enough, before it gets more serious, the tone is kind of like up in the air.
Good. We'll get there, Luke. So, Luke, you hadn't seen it before until I hadn't seen it before. None of us had saw it until we had to do it for this show, because it's been on my list. I'm like, Lakeview Terrace, it's a Samuel Jackson movie where Samuel Jackson, I know, is giving a great performance, and spoiler alert, he does. And it's a movie that nobody talks about. Now, we're about to start this movie, but first off, I want to ask one important question. Do we know who directed this?
I do not remember.
His name is like Laboot or something?
And do we know his previous body of work?
No, but I've heard that they're very...
Is it called body of work?
I heard that...
Oh, yeah.
I heard that it's a director that Mr. Ebert very much likes.
Well, Neil Laboot has directed a masterpiece. This movie is the literal follow-up to this movie. It's a movie he did directly after. He directed a 2006 film starring Nicolas Cage called The Wicker Man.
Oh.
And not only did he direct it, he wrote it. This one I don't think he wrote. I think he just directed, I do believe. We'll find out in the credits again.
Well, this one's also based on a true story.
And this one's also produced by Will Smith.
Yeah.
So, fun fact. So, we're watching the movie by the guy who did The Wicker Man.
So buckle the fuck up.
Buckle the fuck up, because we are going to start this bad boy. So get your copy of Lakeview Terrace ready, because we're going to start this in 3, 2, 1, play.
Blast off.
So, we are beginning this film.
Okay.
Now, Luke, you mentioned before that you thought this was a light-hearted movie of neighborhood wars.
Sure
In a
did.
similar vein to...
Did you say lighthearted?
Yeah.
He
I did.
said light-hearted. He thought that this was going to be Bad Neighbors with
the
Seth
vein of-
Rogen.
Yeah, or Christmas with the Cranks. Or, that
Or
sort of
Christmas.
thing. Yeah.
We should do that for the
Yeah,
Christmas
right.
episode this year. Christmas with Cranks with Tim Allen.
I like-
Now, this movie could have been improved if Tim Allen was the white guy neighbor.
I like that sentiment Luke had, because obviously the movie gets more serious as it
Yeah.
goes on. But there is a point, like, early to the middle of the movie where it kind of is a bickering neighbor war movie. Like, oh,
had
my
that
darn
potential.
neighbor, I'm gonna get you back with my lights.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
enjoy
exactly.
this.
That's
Deck
what I
the
thought.
halls.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's like that. Neil Laboot had to make a decision, and he did.
He had to make a decision, with Ron Glass.
It was the
Glass.
second best neighbor bickering thing since that one Ren and Stimpy episode.
Now,
with Nitwit and Dimwit.
I want us to look at the credits, because there's a guy with a name here. Jason. There it is.
Jaishon.
I noticed that.
It was like, who's Jason?
Jaishon.
Jaishon. It's the best name.
Yeah.
I got it right, yeah?
I think you did.
Yeah, it was great.
I was gonna say you were
Sliwinski.
wrong, but then I remember. Oh wait, you did say H.
These are some
H.
pretty good credits.
These are great credits.
Michael
Now,
spelled with a Y. I mean, get around
Lynette
it.
spelled with a Y.
so this is a movie. For those of you who are not familiar, the plot line of this movie is a very interesting one. It's a movie where an interracial couple, a black woman and a white man, move into a lavish suburb, a Lakeview Terrace, and their next door neighbor is a member of the LAPD, and he is a black man, and he's played by Samuel Jackson. And it is a movie about misunderstandings and prejudice. And Samuel Jackson is the prejudiced one, and he does not approve of their relationship. He doesn't like a black person with a white person. He's really against it, so he takes it into his own hands to pretty much try and drive them out of the neighborhood.
Most of those elements are from Guess Who.
Oh, good that you brought up the cinematic classic Guess Who
Oh,
with
I'm-
Bernie Mac.
I almost didn't. It was so hard to. It was so hard to bring up Guess Who.
Tie my hands together.
If Bernie Mac was still alive, I think he would have taken off.
Well, if this movie had Bernie Mac in it, it would have
They
had
couldn't have had a
Ashton
serious
Kutcher.
film.
Now, Bartek, could you mention the trivia, please, of the Kutcher
yes.
action?
I've read all the trivia on IMDb. This is the only one I might remember some others, but this is the one that stuck out to me. What's the name of the white guy in this movie? Like the actor?
Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson. So
The whitest name.
Oh yeah.
so before Patrick Wilson was cast in the role of, was it Michael? Chris.
Yeah.
I think his name's Chris. Before he was
As white guy.
cast in the role as white bread, they were considering casting not only Edward Norton but Ashton Kutcher, who was the white guy in Guess Who.
Now,
was indeed.
the interesting thing about those two performers is
That's
Edward
the
Norton's
same.
on one end of the spectrum and Ashton Kutcher's on the other end.
In his own spectrum, I think.
In the punked spectrum, yeah.
So we can kind of see here. He's not, he just seems to be the, trying to do well, but he's still quite firm and stern dad. There's nothing sinister about it.
He's firm, alright.
So look, did this scene surprise you? Because I'm sure you've heard of this man Samuel L. Jackson before.
Oh,
You walked in with expectations of his character?
I did. I thought he was going to be absolutely. You guys seen American Beauty?
Yeah.
The dad in that, not Kevin Spacey, the military dad. That guy. I was expecting that.
Here's my favourite part, Bartek. Before we actually ask Luke at what point did he realise that this wasn't going to be a friendly, light-hearted neighbourhood war, my favourite part of this is it's got Samuel Jackson in it, and Luke thinks light-hearted comedy. Like, whenever is there a Samuel Jackson movie where it's light-hearted?
Oh, Attack of the Clones was pretty lighthearted.
It has no heart, so yeah, that's pretty light.
Right, it was light. Side of the Force.
But my favourite thing is, can you imagine Luke sitting there going, yeah, well, I've got to do this for the podcast. Oh, it's got Samuel Jackson in it. Oh, it's going to be a lovely romp. At what point did you realise, Luke? Can I pick a point?
Go ahead.
In my brain, the point you realise that Samuel Jackson's truly fucking evil, not evil, but like, is when Patrick Wilson's smoking in his car and he comes over and knocks on his window and pretends to mug him. And then gives him that little lesson about, like, oh, you may listen to rap, but when you wake up in the morning, you're still white.
Yeah.
That's the point for me in which we know Samuel Jackson. I mean, if you didn't know that this was not a lighthearted comedy romp, I knew that it wasn't a lighthearted comedy romp, and I knew from the moment we met him that it was not going to be a nice guy movie.
Clearly, you know better than I do.
He hasn't smiled yet.
No, he did smile.
Has he yet?
Yeah, when he woke
is-
up.
He did? That looked like a grimace.
He smiled. That's Samuel Jackson.
And if that didn't do it for you, maybe the scene where he's negotiating with that fat guy.
No, that's the first time. See, it's kind of hard to tell with that because in movies like this, those happen a lot where they interact with the criminal and they kind of push him around and be a jerk. You know what I mean? So I can understand if Luke didn't notice then. But, like, once he's, like, racist, that's when you kind of go, oh, okay, this... Luke, at what point did you realise?
Honestly, I think it was when he runs into him at the bar, to be honest.
That late!
I don't know, that's when I realized that he was absolutely 100% not fucking around.
That late in the
that.
game.
Oh, well, he said not
Look at him
fucking
now, look at
around.
him, he's smiling. Yeah, no, I knew he would.
To give Luke some credit, I think what he's trying to say is that that's the scene where you learned his
Backstory.
backstory,
Yes,
the reason for
yes.
why he is how he is.
Not when he
Thank you,
smacked
Bart.
his own daughter. That already happened by then.
I know.
I just love it's like when Bartek watched the movie Annie and it
That's-
took him
that's-
like
yeah.
35 minutes to realize it wasn't Carrie. You know what I mean? This is
could have gone that
Luke in his brain is just like this. Oh, hey, that moment where Samuel Jackson makes that guy nearly want to pull the trigger on the shotgun to his face. Lighthearted romp. Or, hey, that moment where he beat the fuck out of his own daughter in front of the neighbor. Lighthearted romp.
Luke, have you played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas?
No, I can't say I have.
Do you know who the main villain of that game is?
Is it Fat Tony?
No.
No. It is Officer Frank Tenpenny, corrupt police officer who's voiced by Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, how do you do?
How do you do? It's not the first time.
When did that game come out?
2003 or 5. Something like that.
So
I'd
it's a
also
prequel to
like
this.
to point out that Ron Glass, who played Shepard Book in Firefly,
Is in this as the dad.
very cool.
I really like the fact that Samuel Jackson was okay with this. How old did you say she is? Like 27-year-old woman dating like a 65-year-old
look at his
man,
face.
and then he's like heartbroken that she's
Oh my
actually
God.
dating a man
Look at
her
him.
own age.
He's taking it to heart. He really is.
Maybe he was.
What's he drinking?
A cup of ice.
Maybe
There's no water in that.
Samuel, did you know Samuel Jackson only drinks ice?
Yeah, he's so cool.
He's so cool.
Well, it's the coolest sounding beverage because it sounds like a drug.
Yeah, he's drinking ice. Oh, and a Prius is mentioned, so
That's pretty awesome.
Bartek.
Yeah.
When you watched this movie, did you know that it wasn't going to be a light-hearted comedy romp?
I mean, I knew it was a thriller walking in.
Yeah.
And obviously, I knew that he was racist and that he had problems with an interracial couple because that's like the information that you gave me when I walked in. So I knew that. I mean, I was expecting it to get more serious, but much like we were talking about last episode with the boy next door, there was the scene where it was established that Noah was filming the sex that he had with J-Lo.
The premeditated.
And that made it like a premeditated. Okay, he was definitely crazy before he had sex with her, so now we can say that he was the bad guy. With this movie, like I was still waiting for that moment where it would be like definitely he is a bad guy, because he did have those moments of maybe he's not fucking around, maybe he.
And that's what makes a compelling villain, I think. What I liked about this, in comparison to the movie we did previously, The Boy Next Door. In The Boy Next Door, as soon as the plot demands it, he switches from nice, mild-mannered boy to psychopath. In this movie, what I like about it is Samuel Jackson, with his position as well as a police officer, I think it's very important that we mention that, is the fact that we don't know if he's crazy or not. He may just be super into the law and authority, and he just may be an asshole because he's a police officer and we associate them with being kind of jerks. You know, and the thing is, he flips, he dips in and out of sanity and reason and insanity and unreasonable.
Makes a
Like,
pretty good villain, I think.
that's exactly right. Like, he goes from one moment to being like, I don't like you because you're an interracial couple. And then the next moment, he'll be like, hey, you know, that was a bad night for me. I'm sorry, you know, like, I've got a lot of things going on. And, hey, let's have a beer and try and work this out. But then in that beer, when they're having that beer, he'll release information that's like, I still fucking hate you.
I hate you by concept of,
Yes.
of what
And I'm
you are.
never going to let that go. And then he's like, but hey, I'll be your friend. It's kind of great. And then when we see him on the streets and in work, and how he takes this mentality, he has this built-in sense of justice and law and order and morality and masculinity. I think that's very important. And he brings that to all aspects of life, to work, to his home life, to living with his neighbors, all this. He treats his kids like they're suspects. He treats these people like they're suspects, and he treats the suspects like that too. It's like he has no.
He's not separating his work
switch.
life from his domestic life.
Yeah, he has no domestic. Yeah,
Which is hardly surprising given how militant he runs his house.
And yeah, he
Exactly.
even does the neighborhood patrols every night.
exactly. And I think that I appreciate this type of villain because you have a sense, unlike the boy next door where they're a complete psychopath and they're getting to the point where they'll kill a dog or something, right?
Yeah.
You have a feeling that, hey, this person may get away with it. You don't know. Like, with the boy next door, with those type of movies, when the psychopath becomes full psychopath, you're like, oh, they're going to get killed.
Yeah.
Or arrested. In this movie, he's a policeman as well. So there's that extra layer of, how far can he go? And will he get caught? And I think that is an interesting dynamic to play. And I love that scene. It's probably my favorite scene later where he slaps the kid and she's like, you know, in his face, and he's like, what are you going to do? Call the cops? I'll tell you which one's on patrol right now. It just this interesting dynamic. Now, Luke, you're Italian.
Yes.
So what do you think about racism in this movie?
I think like it's very interesting because like obviously black people are very disenfranchised and racism is still prevalent in America, but he is also a cop, and there is so much to be said about cops abusing their power. So it's like it's an interesting disconnect because on one hand, like socially, he is disadvantaged. He's also a cop, so he wields a tremendous amount of power. So
Yeah, and he's rich.
yeah,
he
that
is
too. He lives in Lakeview
incredibly
Terrace.
rich.
He's
white collar.
Yeah, and this isn't this isn't the last time he plays a black man in a situation where black people would be disadvantaged, but he is sort of on top because in a later movie, which Kerry Washington's also in, he plays a guy in charge of a bunch of slaves.
Oh, Django Unchained.
Django Unchained.
It was the
Django
head.
Unchained.
I thought you were going to mention there's a
house.
movie where Samuel Jackson literally plays the president of the United States and gets lost in the woods. Like his plane crashes and he gets lost in the woods and he has to fend for himself like an average man, even though he's a president. It's actually a neat concept.
I was kind of hoping is it going to be a real movie, Ryan? Reveal it? But
No, it's a real movie.
is it?
Yeah, I'm not joking. That's a real movie. It came out like 2 years ago. Samuel Jackson plays the president of the United States. His plane crashes in the woods, and he has to fend for himself. Leonardo DiCaprio style, I guess. And there's a kid involved as well. I don't know. Like, it sounds like an interesting movie. I heard it's not very good, but I like the concept of like basically the most powerful
hold on.
person in the world.
You've heard it's not very good.
I heard it's not very good, so it might be great.
Yeah, I know.
We need to put it on this show.
I like the
Please do.
idea. How
And
good is the
invite me
idea
to
that
that
the
episode.
world's most powerful person, which in our world is the president of the United States,
more or
like
less.
more or less, and they have to fend for themselves. Like all the powers, it doesn't matter.
They're just a man in the woods.
But that's another movie. This movie is a very interesting one. Now, Bartek, when you were going through this and you were going through the racist moments of this character, and it's a movie where it takes you a little while to figure out who your main character is. You think it's Samuel Jackson to begin with, maybe, because you're following him for a good portion of this movie, and then it switches to Patrick Wilson in this scene, I think, is where Patrick Wilson becomes our main character.
They're like trading the places of the main characters, like these three core characters. But whereas you describe these guys as like protagonists, you would describe him as like a villain protagonist because you do follow him so heavily. Like with Noah in the last movie and hell, even the other movies we've done this month, the villain is always a faceless in the sense that you don't see what they're doing all the time, so that they'll surprise you. They'll suddenly appear in the vice principal's house and shock you and do things.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson,
We see his process.
You see his process. You see him getting blasted at his job.
Yeah.
You see him trying to be a parent. You see him even at a bachelor party. He's transparent.
And you see here, he comes off as understanding. He's like, you've been busy, you got a lot on your mind, and then it slowly turns over into
But he's also still playing the policeman role.
derision. Yes.
Still playing this policeman role. Like,
Friendly,
he's
but not
giving
too
him
friendly.
shit about this organic cigarette. And the interesting thing about this movie is, like what you said, there are times in which we don't see what Samuel Jackson does, and it makes it more threatening, because we've seen him do so much. So when there's moments where their heating is tampered with, or their car tires are slashed, it's really intense, because you know it's him. But at the same time, there's that sense of doubt, because you've seen him do everything so far. And those first few incidents they're the first couple, and you don't see him do it. So it gives you this hint of, oh, maybe it's not him. But you know it is. Deep down, you know it is as the audience.
Even though some of the cops are like, oh, kids these days, they make you miserable for no reason whatsoever. And it's kind of like, it's clearly him, but maybe not. It's like, as the movie goes on, you realize he's kind of petty. A lot of the things he does is kind of petty.
I've got a question for both of you. That I was asking this with my household last night, and there was a debate about it. Do you think... Now, this is just a visual thing. Do you think that Samuel Jackson has a limp? Or is it just his casual swagger walk? Now, I want you to kind of look at it throughout while we watch it to kind of, like, you may give me an answer now and be like, no, I think it's just a swagger. But I really want you to look at it. For me, I'm convinced that it's a limp, and that's going to really tie into the end of the movie with something I really want to mention about.
Okay, so this is an open question.
It's an open question, one we can discover together, because it's one I've now shone a light on. You guys can look at him and go, is he got a limp, Or is it just Samuel Jackson's got a casual swagger that he just happens to lean more on that side when he walks?
Well,
I kind of want to know.
I'll confess right now, I have no idea. I haven't paid attention to his walk.
Sometimes it's more
just
prominent in
assume-
other scenes, sometimes not.
Maybe
But
he got it on the job.
Is it something like how I sometimes walk? Because apparently I have a weird...
You'll see. You'll see.
You got swagger, man.
You got swagger. So this movie is a hard one to pin down as a genre type. Now this is it is straight thriller. Yeah, it's straight thriller, but for Luke it was a comedy.
It was up until a point.
There are funny moments in it.
There
though.
are funny moments. Oh, and Luke, you're a writer.
Uh-huh.
Please tell me that you have your character called Abel Turner, because it's
Well, I
like
bet
the
his
best name.
First name is completely not symbolic of anything or
Well,
significant. or
Abel
anything.
is the one who got betrayed.
Yeah.
True.
And did he not get betrayed?
And we've already had David Cross play Kane.
Yep.
So
Oh, the white boss. Was it David Cross?
yeah.
Oh no.
In case you don't know what we're talking about, Luke, we're talking about the movie Year One.
Year One, where they
Year
had
One.
Kane as one of the main characters and Abel was played by Paul Rudd. Now, this movie would have benefited from having Ashton Kutcher and Paul Rudd. Now, Paul Rudd could be the angry white neighbor who really hates interracial couples, and Ashton Kutcher could be with Zoe Saldana.
But where does Nicolas Cage fit into everything?
Nicolas Cage would be the fat white gangster guy that Samuel Jackson, that Paul
But
Rudd
he
would
do it
hire.
Jamaican.
But he would do it as a Jamaican accent. Now, this is the very interesting part of the movie. Now, Luke, I don't know if you noted this down. It really is a great scene for the character development. This is one of the few scenes where you see the kids without the dad for a while.
Yeah.
And look how they talk with the whole God's gonna punish you for having a stiffy kind of thing.
Yeah. and then
Now,
it's
as a
like,
writer, how do you feel about this small moment? How it kind of builds the background, the backdrop of how Samuel Jackson has raised these kids.
I think it's interesting because, like, you know, siblings fight obviously, but these two have so far been together in every single scene, which means that I think subconsciously or not, they've sort of united against their dad.
Yeah, they've united against him. They come of an age where they no longer, appreciate his values, which I think we all go through at some point.
Oh yeah.
Your values change from what your parents are on some level. Now, when I was watching this, I felt that this movie was really an unappreciated masterpiece. Like, I felt like I was like, why is this not a liked movie? I think the pacing's good. I think the music is effective. And you know what? Something I really like? The writing in it. Like we mentioned, Samuel Jackson's character is fascinating. He's flipping and turning. You don't know. And since we spend so much time with him, it's kind of like, are we seeing things from his perspective? Because there came a point in which he's tearing this couple apart with his games, in which I go, fuck, these people are a terrible couple. I don't want them together either. You know, she's getting pregnant without consent and all this and this and this.
Yeah, it kind of
He
reminded
didn't
me.
really make them do that.
It kind of did remind me of Guess Who. There like that whole thing of Zoe Saldana was the only one who was insisting that the fact that they were interracial wouldn't matter at all.
And then
like,
it
it's
did.
not important. But despite her
Man.
insistence throughout the whole movie and everyone else being against it, you're kind of thinking like, she's wrong, but the movie's not really like making her realize it.
Yeah.
She's like really adamant about the fact that no, this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, Luke, you said just a moment ago, Samuel Jackson didn't make them do that. No, he didn't make them. But what Samuel Jackson did is he shook up their lives enough to cause enough chaos for irrational thoughts. Because what we get from these people is they're very logical people.
Yeah.
They've got plans. They've got ideas in motion. They are real kind of people who have schedules for everything. Samuel Jackson shakes up their mentality, thus causing everything to spin out of control with their marriage.
When you started saying all that, I was like, oh, just like Noah in the last movie. But then as you kept talking, it kind of got a bit deeper as it went on, like the whole schedule thing.
And it's and it's not like Samuel Jackson's pointing a gun at them, being like, blah, 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 do this. He's playing them subtly. Like at points they don't even, it's real good. They don't even know that they're being played. Unlike in the previous film, The Boy Next Door, she knew that she was being played. This is the intricacy of the writing. You know, something I really like about this movie, I think it's a real testament, is the setting. That it's this fire that's coming closer
Yeah.
and closer and closer.
As time goes on.
And it reaches towards a climactic end where the fire is right at their doorstep, and that fire is also Samuel Jackson.
I'd also like to point out, like, again, much like American Beauty, the film started off with like shots of like suburbia, nothing going on, you know, no fires, just, and it's all very peaceful. And on the outside, it appears fine, and then
And you go
the fire
further.
comes to your doorstep.
I read somewhere that there was symbolism in the bar scene we mentioned. How apparently in that scene, Chris is drinking water, and Samuel Jackson Abel is drinking an alcoholic drink, and being like, "Oh, water puts out fires, whereas alcohol accelerates."
Yeah,
or something
ignites
like
them,
that.
yeah. Spreads them. Yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic that this film's going on. Now, here's the thing that I think is the problem with the movie. There's two problems I think make this movie an unappreciated masterpiece, and it's very intricate problems. The end.
Yeah.
We'll get to the end.
Yeah.
But the thing I think about this movie really needed, and I think this would make this movie 1,000 times better, is the lighting. I think the lighting's very plain, very mundane, very...
Much like the suburb.
Yeah, I get that on a level. But, like, a lot of this movie, I'm like, well, this would be a lot greater if it was shot at night, have night scenes. But then I'm like, well, logically, your interactions with your neighbors during the day a lot. And you have scenes like this where it's like, well, the day's just starting or it's ending, or, like, this is a better lit scene. But I feel like the lighting's very grey and very mundane. For a movie that is kind of more gripping and dark and thrilling, I want more contrasting color elements, more shadows, more this and that, a grittier feel through the lighting and just general cinematography, I guess. And I think that is stopping this movie.
I guess to its credit, though, it does have the moot point contrast of black and white.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
And at the
clearly
end,
an accident, I'm
and at the
sure.
end, they're covered in black from the smoke, of
Oh,
course.
look, he's in the shadow of the car right now, so he's being
And
black.
he's shirtless too,
But
so he
the
shows
pain-
more
the-
white.
The pain symbolizes that he can't be black. He really
and,
is
he's-
white.
and in the end, we all bleed red, which is the color of his shirt, Luke.
I'm sure Neil LaBute was thinking about this.
So now, Luke, tell us a bit more about your experience with this movie, viewing it. You know,
About this point in the movie, or just...
no, in general, you know, like things that you weren't expecting, or like obviously you weren't expecting a lot because you thought it was a different type of movie. Just tell us about your general viewing experience, because I'm very interested to hear more about it, because it is kind of like you thought this was something completely different.
Well, for starters, it's like these... When I started to feel like, okay, this is not that funny, it's the one-on-one scenes. Like, there's no, like, funny background event or funny one-scene character. It's just always him and him.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it unsettling, I think, because it's just...
So you needed a McLovin character.
Basically. You would need some
Samuel
comic
Jackson's
relief.
son is like an obsessed, crazy sex pervert, and is played by McLovin. And you just never mention why he's white.
yeah.
He's just like, and he's gangster as well. He's like,
that
I'm
kind
a
of
gangster, yo, and got the hat on the side.
I'm cool.
He's basically his
And
character
McLovin.
from Kick-Ass.
I'd also like to point out Patrick Wilson was in Watchmen, was he not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do believe he was the giant squid monster that Ozymandias
Oh, so-
used at the end.
Right.
Spoiler alert for The Watchmen that's
And
been out
Nicolas
for decades.
Cage must have played Night Owl then.
No, Nicolas Cage was not in the feature
I
because it was not
know.
directed by Neil LaBute.
He was in Kick-Ass, though.
He was, as that Batman ripoff.
Batman ripoff, he inspired Batman
Really?
before you know, even he
You say so.
existed. So your experience was like you needed more comedy for the comedy aspect of this movie.
For the one-on-one scenes, Ryan.
No, I was fine with that. I just started to notice, this
You were
isn't
like-
coming in, and that's what usually happens with a comedy film.
No, but then you realized it was a thriller.
When
And
you-
were you thrilled?
I like what they call it a thriller when it can just be downright scary or unsettling, and it's like, I guess I'm thrilled in a sense, but
Are you erotically thrilled?
nah.
But hey,
I mean,
hey, excuse me. I'm gonna ask that question again. Are you erotically thrilled? Because there's a point where Samuel Jackson takes off his pants in this
well,
movie.
there was a pool sex scene just now. It was alright though.
It was pretty good. I
It was
mean, it
okay.
had Kerry Washington in it, and I
Kerry
guess she
Washington,
done a
I
lot of
love it.
washing.
Even the kids watched.
Even the kids watched.
But remember, this film in America was PG-13.
Yeah, it has 2 fucks in it.
Yes,
I mean,
but
technically 3.
Yeah.
but I read this. It wasn't in the context of
Sex.
so that therefore it was.
It was
fair
just in the
game.
context of fuck you.
Apparently,
I love that.
apparently that's how it works.
Oh, yeah, so
It's
I can say
okay
fuck,
to
fuck,
say
fuck.
it, as long as it's not
I
related
put
to
our
sex.
podcast off explicit for this episode because we're not saying fuck in a sexual manner. We'll just say it.
What about when we bring it up, like right now?
Oh, like you fucked it real hard in the pussy.
Well, now it's double
I wonder where that
explicit.
guy went.
Who? That guy?
That fucker run.
He was in this movie. He played a character in this movie, actually. You remember that scene where Samuel Jackson is chasing after the guy and the guy has the gun to his head? Well, in the background, you can see a guy in a black hoodie and he's just saying, fuck you right in the pussy!
It was very ahead of its time since this was 2008.
Yeah, it was a couple of memes ago.
A meme is a unit of time, ladies and gentlemen. The more you
And
know.
distance.
We were only
And
like
distance.
15
And anything,
at
really.
this point.
Yeah.
We were old
2008.
enough to watch it though.
We were at high school,
Yeah, like year 9, I reckon.
No, you're wrong.
thereabouts.
It was year 8.
Yeah.
It was 2008, so it was year 9.
No, you're wrong.
No, he's right.
You're wrong about
When
this
it
one,
was
Bartek.
when it was being filmed, maybe.
There you go. I'm right about it again.
not when
By
it
the time
was
Australia
released.
got it, we were
Anyway.
like in university.
It
So
was yesterday.
Something I was interested in, like this is the second time we've seen him squeezing like Dettol or whatever on his hands to clean it.
it's lube.
Is it now?
Yeah, he's gonna finger us.
So that he can, like,
If
when
you
he
say
flicks
so.
it, it'll like slide off.
Yeah. You were saying, Luke?
I found that interesting because at first I was like, is this leading up to something?
And you did it?
Nah.
In a way, it did, because when he reveals that he's been smoking it, like, he doesn't have to hide it anymore.
But he still keeps hiding it. At
Does
the end of
he?
this, the real moral of this movie is smoking's bad.
Yeah, it causes wildfires.
So after like the end scene, Samuel Jackson's dead. It fades to black. It fades back to him, and he's like, "Smoking kills."
And then he has like bullet holes in there smoking out, and he's just like, ugh.
This is kills.
I like Patrick Wilson here being
Motherfucker.
deliberately obtuse. He's like, "Oh, he's your brother? I didn't know that."
Oh yeah, at first I didn't know if he was playing that seriously, and then it was like, oh, he gave that little smile. I'm like, oh, he's a
Yeah.
comedy man now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like how he does have
At this
little
point, it was
quirks,
a comedy movie.
little quirky
Ta-da.
smart-ass responses every
See,
now and
it's
then.
moments like that that kept Luke in the safe zone of it's a comedy.
Like in the
I can't wait for us to watch This Means War, and he
yes.
thinks that it's a serious
So-
drama.
Luke,
It will be a serious
in
drama.
the latest scene, the Kerry Washington's father's final scene, and also second, did that harken your memories back to the days of Lisa and her mother in the room talking about her relationship?
I wish you'd been in it more, to be honest.
Who hit the dad?
Yeah, Ron.
I
Howard.
really think that this movie could have benefited from Samuel Jackson about to punch Patrick Wilson, and then his fist gets caught. Like a hand comes up, and it's the dad, the father-in-law, and he's just like, "Who do you think you are?" And Samuel Jackson's like, "Police, motherfucker!" And like grabs his own hand back and like does a super punch, and then he does a super block, and it becomes like a Dragon Ball Z fight. You know what I mean? Where it spans like 4 episodes.
And then he gives a lethal blow to the father, but then the father, it turns out he was just a block of wood all along, and he gets a final kill from behind.
So, yeah, you're proud of that one. I can hear.
I like that.
You think, I like it. So,
The whole thing, not just one.
Bartek, did you have a favorite character in this movie? There's not too many to pick.
You know
from-
what? Despite the fact this is like the 45th episode, and I know how the structure goes, I completely forgot to think about who my favorite character would be.
Well, you gotta pick it now.
Let's leave it as an open question.
Who's Bartek's favorite character? Can I take a guess? I think Bartek's favorite character is the illumination from Samuel Jackson's sneakers in this particular scene.
A character
I thought you were going to
all
say
on its own.
his bald head.
You know, lighting for Samuel Jackson must be a fucking pain in the ass. Because he's usually bold in these movies. And
Yeah.
He's just like,
Could they rub something on his head to make it less gleaming?
yeah, didn't you see? Patrick Wilson already rubbed it all over his hands.
he's
Samuel
gonna-
Jackson's like, motherfucking,
such
look at
a
his
shot.
shoes. They're like lighting up.
Yeah.
What's wrong with his shoes?
I-
Are they
Maybe they're
lights?
cop shoes that you only get.
Oh
if
yeah,
you're
the
a
old
cop.
cop shoes.
Yeah. You only get them if you're a cop. They're like
Yeah.
limited edition.
He's on the light side of the Force, guys.
That's true.
It is true. He was in the Star Wars.
Mace
Did you read
Windu.
that Samuel L. Jackson's publicly stated he doesn't think Mace Windu is dead? He thinks he's
Yeah,
still-
you know what
And I
happened?
believe
He
it.
got thrown out a window and became a cop.
Exactly.
And now he's in Lakeview Terrace.
So you just same job, different outfit.
He does look older in this movie.
It's because he is.
Yep. He's an
He's just
older
like-
Mace Windy.
Windy?
Windu.
Wendy. So you didn't have a favorite character. Now I'm gonna say my favorite character in this movie has to be, it has to be Samuel Jackson. I mean, how could you
I'm
go
leaning
past?
towards him, but I'm trying to remember everyone else in the movie.
Well, there's the dad. There's the couple. There's Samuel Jackson's boss.
There are
his
a million
kids.
cops. Yeah, there is.
His kids. Oh, his partner. His partner's gonna become a detective in like 2 years.
Latino guy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Minetti.
I
Yeah.
was about to call him Hernandez, but then I remembered that's the name of Samuel Jackson as the GTA cops. One of his partners was Hernandez.
All right, let's just refer to this as GTA Terrace.
I would play that.
Ah, my
San Andreas.
The first mission is to water your lawn.
Lakeview.
No, the first
Terrace.
cutscene of the game, he's almost home. Samuel Jackson abducts him, then throws him out in ballless territory.
Oh no.
And then the game's like, here's a bike. At the end of the game, you'll have a casino, but for now, you have a bike.
And off he goes.
you have to build your way up.
Yeah, that game's all about building yourself.
Yeah,
up.
see, looking at him, at first it looks like a swagger, but no, it definitely isn't.
Yeah, see, you're thinking about it.
I see. I was looking at your beautiful noses, so I wasn't paying
Oh,
attention.
Thanks,
Bartek,
yes.
looking at my nosies. Now, this
yeah.
is a part of the movie that is great. The typical dynamic between a man and a woman, where he's too selfish to actually tell her what's properly going on,
Yeah.
and she just doesn't care enough to ask him more.
I guess it would be that whole masculinity thing.
It's a masculinity problem.
Honey, I just leave it to
Either
them.
that, or he wants to protect her
Luke,
from
as
the big
someone
bad
who
man.
lives at home and must have a masculinity problem, how do you feel about the masculinity in this movie? Did it empower you,
Did it empower me? I hope
or
not.
did it
No, didn't.
devalue you?
Well, look, you only have two examples of masculinity here, and one of them, Patrick Wilson, he hasn't really done anything as yet, and the other is abusing his power. So no.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Samuel Jackson was the other masculinity.
Well, he is, but he's like a bad form of it. It's
I thought you were
toxic
gonna say.
masculinity.
I thought you. There's more than one masculinity. I
Yeah.
mean, the world is a masculine world. It's all men. She's like the only female character, other than my actual favorite character, which is the Asian neighbor that has the house party later on in the movie, where Samuel Jackson hires the guy,
Yeah?
and she opens up the scene with, "Oh my, it is so nice that we live here. We have nice black cop who saves us from bad people." That's dialogue. That's
I think
dialogue.
I need to read the subtitles.
It's something very close to that, where she says, "We have black cop neighbor," and he's literally standing right there.
If that is exactly what she said, I would make her my favorite character.
She was my favorite character because it's like, why is she hosting this party?
And he's still
She's
out
like from
there.
another movie, then, if that's her line.
Yeah.
Also, I brought it up as a joke the when I brought up The Room, but this is another movie where, apart from Samuel Jackson, mostly about the main character, Chris, you don't see him go to work.
No, because he works at the supermarket. What would they show?
Like,
He's wearing
like,
he wore a suit, so he
in-
must
in
have
the-
some kind of administrative role.
In The Room,
No.
in The Room, both Tommy
Stuck
Wiseau's
boy.
character Johnny, he says he works at the bank, but you never see him at the bank, and Lisa works at home in the computer business or something.
She
But-
tried but failed at
Yeah,
the computer business.
And both of them are similar in this movie. Like you don't see them at work. Like, and is it actually mentioned what her job is? Because at one point she has
In this, she's a graphic designer.
that's what it looked. Is that actually said?
No.
Because that's
You
what
have
it
to
looked
interpret.
like.
This guy's Luke.
Is he?
Yeah.
because
Where
of the-
he's
oh,
trying to
wow.
work his way to a black girl, but he's doing the Pacific Rim at the moment. And I'll be
Pacific Rim, is
and
that a
I'll be
reference to the
honest.
movie?
I'll be
No.
1000%
I know.
honest with you. I actually said to my girlfriend, I turned around and went, "What does this have to do with the movie Pacific Rim? I thought like he's working.
Like, what does it mean?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Then I was
Like,
like,
Pacific
oh,
Rim
no.
was years later.
Hey, do you like the fact that this movie has every couple's in an interracial couple, just so Samuel Jackson can be more pissed off about everything?
Oh shit.
I like that. I think at this point Samuel L. Jackson is trying to see like trying to feel contempt for like the predictable. What he probably sees as the white suburban discussion of issues.
Oh,
And
you
they go
mean,
straight to-
yes, global warming.
Yeah,
do
they
you
go straight
believe
to
in it?
global warming.
Samuel Jackson's like, I'm a policeman,
I like that.
motherfucker. I
No,
beat
they-
people up.
They never complained about millennials in this movie. At least.
No, they didn't exist. My favorite line of dialogue is connected to the sequence. It's my favorite line. It's Samuel Jackson has this way of delivering lines. It's very casual, you know, like he says things very casually, even
Yeah.
except when he's yelling and being threatening, then it's really precise. But he has this line of dialogue that sounded so, I don't know if you noticed it, Bartek, but it sounded so genuine and honest in a scene in which he was being a cocky asshole, which is he's getting chucked out of this party or he's leaving, and Patrick Wilson basically comes up to him and says, hey, I'm not liking this, blah, blah, blah. And Samuel Jackson has a go at him for, like, smoking and that he doesn't belong in the neighborhood, and he's just like, you know, he's just like, and then Patrick Wilson goes,
Oh.
maybe it's you as the problem. And without skipping a beat, Samuel Jackson has this dumbfounded look on his face and goes, but I don't smoke. It's like it's a cocky answer, but he says it so genuinely, like I don't have a problem. I don't smoke.
He's like misinterpreting.
It's like when he
the
saw them
problem.
kissing and he had that like heartbroken look on his face.
Yeah, like it personally wounds
Yeah,
him.
right? He's taking on
You just
imagine he
recut
goes-
this movie to a man who's really, really confused and sad.
You should go to like therapy just to talk about the things.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, if you just had there's lots of these movies where if only there was a therapist. Or, well, we already had The Room mentioned. You're always playing psychologist.
If only this was more like a girl on the train, which I saw the other day. That had a therapist.
Oh, was it played by Samuel Jackson?
No, I played with some guy with a beard.
So Samuel Jackson, that's exactly what I'm hearing. He has a goatee.
But he was white.
Oh, well, Samuel Jackson could play anyone.
He wasn't
I wonder
black.
if the guy in the red shirt is meant to be the token douchebag here.
I
guess
was
he is.
really having a hard time figuring out if these were his friends or they lived
Yeah.
in the neighborhood.
Right?
I got a more feeling of friends.
Yeah, that's what
But
you get.
then again, they did say that they were inviting neighbors.
Maybe it's all.
But then again, there aren't that many people at this party.
And then again, that guy is
yes.
at the next house party.
Why do they invite him?
So is he a neighbor?
Are we talking about that guy? You're like, oh, this would be you, Luke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's that Asian woman's husband. I don't know. So this is the scene, Luke, where it's like, look, cigarettes are, you know, apologizing. This is dialogue of saints, you know, but in front of my wife? That's really not cool. You didn't like that, did you?
Well, Ryan,
Motherfucker.
black people know about cool.
Yeah, well, Samuel Jackson already drinks ice. I mean, we've already...
He's
Chili cup of
cooler,
ice.
cooler than vanilla ice.
You realize that he came in. She's like, "What do you want to drink?" He said something cold and wet, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't actually want to drink. He just
Something
wants a cup of
wet.
ice.
Something wet. Unlike, you know, something dry. Here, have some sand.
Oh,
I don't like sand. It's coarse.
No,
it's
no.
irritating,
No.
and it gets everywhere.
No, he's not. He's
That's
not.
that's
He's
not
not Anakin, so he'll like it.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I like it. It's coarse and it gets everywhere.
Is that your Samuel Jackson or Billy D. Williams impression?
That was my generic black.
Speaking of, Donald Glover is going to be playing.
Says
Lando.
who? Like, look, he's becoming more and more genuine.
Oh,
Maybe
here
you're the
we
one
go.
with the. I don't
I
smoke!
Look at his eyes. Look at
He
his puppy
looks
dog eyes.
genuinely surprised.
It's like he leaves and like he cuts him and he's like crying like. What do you think that?
No, he's like, no, he's just standing there in bewilderment and he's actually texting his kids about it. Like,
Right?
like,
I
honey,
can't believe
no,
they said that.
No, that smile.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
I think it's like, it comes back and he's texting his daughter going, honey, do I smoke?
Like he doubts it. He's like, "Am I crazy? Do I
Am I a
actually
good
smoke?"
dad?
Am I even a cop? Am I white? Who am I? He goes through an identity crisis. I would watch the fuck out of that movie, Lakeview Identity.
It turns out Samuel L. Jackson is just one of 9 manifestations of a.
It's Fight
Insane
Club, but with
person.
Samuel L.
And as
Jackson.
he's walking away, he turns around and is like, "Popeye, I'm cool, right?"
Except instead of Fight Club, it would be called White Club or something.
What was that?
Yeah, the
He
restaurant.
hallucinates that Popeye's next to him. Also, I like
Popeye chicken or Popeye the Sailor Man?
Sailor Man, obviously.
Because you don't know.
Also, while you were questioning me, Luke mentioned White Club.
White Club.
If it was
That's
had a Fight Club, he would call it White Club.
Yeah. First rule of White Club is no whites. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, it's an ironic thing.
Yeah, it's
Whoa.
ironic. It's to teach them supremacists a lesson.
They've been broken into.
There's lots of scenes of Kerry Washington without a bra. And some serious nip blasting. Now, not as serious as Snow Day,
Day.
but nothing ever will be.
What about Patrick Wilson's nips? They're on display.
Oh well, he's always shirtless.
That's
Now,
true.
okay, this is the type of movie where I shouted at the screen several times, "Don't do that," because it's gonna piss off Samuel Jackson. Like when he throws his cigarette butts, or when he's running shirtless. I'm like, "Don't do that." For some reason, I thought Samuel Jackson was gonna comment on his shirtless nature, but he didn't.
But he was jogging and he introduced his kids to him while he was shirtless.
Yeah, he's like, "Kids, this is the honky next door."
Yeah,
Right.
They probably would introduce them like
Now, what you were just saying that
and act
were
like
you
it's fine.
were you victim blaming?
I'm slut shaming
Oh.
because he's a hunky piece of man meat. No.
Is this his partner from earlier?
No.
No.
For one, this guy is too old.
He is too old.
Oh,
Yes.
he is, yeah.
Too old to begin the training.
He is not Hispanic enough, or at all.
Just didn't quite make the grade.
Can I ask a question about? Is there a difference between Hispanic and Latino?
Yeah, there is.
What is
Do
Yeah.
not ask me to explain it because I will probably get it wrong.
I like how you like. Can I ask a question? Then proceed to ask.
Yeah.
You didn't
but
give me
there
the
is a
chance to say
difference.
no.
Well,
But then you would have
I'm
actually
pretty
said
sure-
no, and I couldn't ask the question.
But,
I'm
okay.
sure Latino it means there some population that derives from South
They are
America.
obviously
Uh-huh.
Latin.
Whereas Hispanic
as-
is actually just a Spanish background.
Okay.
because
That
they're
is a
in
guess,
different
though. If I get it
locations of
wrong,
the world.
Please feel
but-
free to.
I don't think anyone's gonna write in. I mean, we did get
Please
2
write in.
French listeners the other day, so if you're from France, maybe you know.
Bonjour.
I surrender.
If my friend Claudia from Ecuador is listening, please feel
She
free to
won't be.
correct us. Shut up, Brian.
Fire. So this is where we really know that Samuel Jackson's in it to win it. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I like
he's
that word
making this a
describing.
game. And does Patrick Wilson play the game? Yes.
I like how he picks up the cigarette. It's just like, look at this.
And it's Ron.
I'll be really honest. I didn't know that this was the guy from Firefly who plays Shepard. I just went, oh, this old black guy. He's really old. Like, he looks like he's 100 years old. Like, if you said to me, Ron Glass is as old as when Glass was made.
Hence, as you
Hence his
established earlier on, he's the perfect anime character.
Oh yes.
He's 100 years old, but he can kick ass.
Yeah. That's good. It's good that I set that up without realizing. So this is an integral scene, Luke. Tell us what happens.
Well, Ron Glass's character quite neatly illustrates the problem. Samuel Jackson is not only black, he is a police officer. So,
Thanks. Not only is he black, but he's a police. That was really deceptive when he's like, and there's a whole color issue.
Yeah, I know. You thought he was gonna
Blue. I'm like, Samuel Jackson's
But he
not blue.
He probably
He's
meant.
not Paul Giamatti in Big Fat Liar. He wasn't dyed blue at any point during this movie.
Yeah, he's a lot more. Even though they're both businessmen, I think he's more business than Percy Jones.
You think who's Samuel Jackson or Ron Glass?
I'm talking about
Patrick Wilson and
father
Ron
here.
Glass
Yeah, Ron
are about
Glass.
to have a showdown.
So this movie would have been better if really this was a sequel to Guess Who, and Bernie Mac is like accepting them as a couple, and they move in next door to a racist, and Bernie Mac has to try and teach this racist a lesson.
No, it'll be like Shrek 4, where Bernie Mac.
Oh, it's a time rewritten kind of movie.
No, in the sense that Bernie Mac is starting to miss his old self, and then he's like something's prodding him to go back to it.
Go back to being a racist.
Go back to be having a problem with Zoe
Race.
and Ashton.
And you're like, oh, if only I was a racist.
Mm-hmm.
Guess Who? If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. If you haven't seen Lakeview Terrace, check it out too, because this is an intense thrill ride movie. Now, out of all the movies we've done, this one is the furthest from a comedy. I know Luke says it is a comedy. This is the most, probably the darkest movie with a nice painting in the background, might I add.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
It is quite a nice
And
painting.
and it's a movie that really is in its element. You know, it's dealing with the darker side of humanity. You know, the darker side of man, which is in this case prejudice. Now, what I like about this is we do say casually Samuel Jackson's crazy in this movie. He's not crazy, is he?
No,
He's just got a warped perception.
Yeah, I was gonna say disturbed, but warped is better.
Warped. He's not like this guy needs to be in a mental home, unlike the boy next door.
Like, you know how he has his own neighborhood patrol, and earlier he was talking about how he knows things about his neighbors and stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of taken on this mentality of like neighborhood protector a bit too much.
And being a cop, you would imagine he sees a lot of stuff. I think he's just grown, and losing his wife in the way that he did, he's just grown bitter.
See, now
It's done wonders for his mental health.
this part right here is where I could give you some slack, Luke, on the whole comedy bit.
Yeah,
because
right?
this is where they start getting that whole
is kind of
bickering neighbors.
And Samuel Jackson appreciates it.
He's like,
ha, that's good. Very good.
He got me.
Does Samuel Jackson actually have an arm tattoo, or is this like a fake
No,
one
what
they
is
put
that?
in the movie? Like, what is it?
No, it's probably a
I'm
sticker.
not sure.
It's a sticker.
a
They
sticker.
stuck a sticker on Samuel Jackson and went, "Here you go." What I find is great about this scene too. All these scenes are great. They're real character building. We find out Samuel Jackson, you're like, yeah, he's pretty old to be like a cop on the beat, beat cop. Why isn't he like a high-ranking pen pusher or detective or whatever? It's just because he simply loves the job. He loves being this kind of guy. Being a detective, being all that, would give him power, but in a different sense. He likes having this power. He loves it, to the point in which he's made himself in this position. Like, he should be a higher ranking police officer by now. He's been working for, he said, 28 years? Later on in the movie, or something like that.
Yeah.
He should already be like a boss, but instead he's just like a grunt on the ground, you know what I mean? He's just a sergeant.
Yeah, well, this guy right
Should
here
be
is about...
sheriff of LA.
Yeah, like
You'd
this
love
line
it
right
if
here.
he was sheriff.
I just don't love the job the way you do.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson loves his job.
Which is interesting.
Does anyone love the way Samuel Jackson loves, which I imagine would be hard and fast?
Oh, you mean make love?
Oh,
Any kind.
I thought you said laughs for a second.
Does
Like,
he
I
laugh
don't know
hard
how to
and
laugh.
fast?
Nah, yeah. It out.
Alright, can we just stop for a moment? That was a weird laugh. Can we stop for a moment? This guy's my favorite character too. This
smoky
guy
guy?
holding the
Guy in the
cigarette.
back, yeah.
He says the name of the tenant like he's not sure, but he's also sure about it. Like, yeah, he's like really sure. He says there it is, and they're like, what's his name, and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, Damon Richards. But he says it like really sure, but not really sure about it at the same time. He says it like, Damon Richards? Like, I mean, he says it like kind of more
He's probably
confidently, and it's just
confident of one of those
he's probably high on goofballs.
names.
all these vehicles.
Pepped up on goofballs. Like
On
they're
these
playing this-
vehicles, there could be a getaway scenes.
But they don't use the bikes, they use the little...
If it was using Wicker Man logic, Samuel Jackson would pull out his gun and be like, "Get off the bike!" and then kick a small child
Well-
off like
well, no,
a tricycle.
Well, no, we've already
I can see
established that Samuel Jackson's a Dragon Ball Z character, so, you know, he'd pull out his gun, he'd shoot it,
He'd
but
do
then
a Kamehameha wave.
he'd quickly jump on top of the bullet and he'll travel like that.
He would do a Kamehameha wave. I love this
Yeah,
woman.
yeah, there's just a lady with another
This
cigarette.
woman's just like, "What's happening?
Hanging
Why
about.
are they shooting a movie on my block?"
You'd be like in Birdman. Is this a movie or is this real?
It's a movie. You fucking people are the worst. I hate you, Sam Jackson. Oh boy. This is when you have the right to kill a man because he shot it. There's a baby that we never
Oh,
see.
there he goes.
Wait a second, is this an interracial couple?
No, they're both black.
So this is the only non-interracial couple that currently exists.
And it's an abusive one as well.
Oh, so
So
I guess
it's
I guess
saying-
interracial's the way to go.
I guess. I don't know. Like,
Because look, he was in a non-interracial couple, and she's gone. She
I
went.
think-
She went for an interracial affair.
Are you
I
trying
think
to say-
socioeconomic dynamics are probably more accurate in determining that
Luke,
sort of thing.
can you confirm Bartek's theory that the blacks and whites and the Asians should all mix together and they should not keep within their own race?
Oh, as soon as we're back in the 50s, I'll give you my answer.
50s,
Also-
that's the 40s.
Also, notice how you never see
This-
Kerry Washington's father's wife.
And he's got really white hair, so who knows?
Interracial color play.
Interracial,
Intercolor. Sorry, intercolor.
Did you
play.
mean interracial?
What?
Facial.
Because his hair is white.
No, I guess.
What's facial?
Oh,
Hair and racial.
put him down.
Oh, it's a nice compound word.
It's
Not
what we-
compound, mix of words.
Compound.
Look in my eyes.
Compound is two words coming to one. I don't know if parts count as compound.
Yes.
Maybe it does. Let's go with compound.
Fun ball. There we go. That's one word.
This is probably something that what was his character's name in Pulp Fiction?
Jules?
Jules. This is what Jules would have done, I think.
This is a movie where you believe that any character Samuel Jackson played could be this character, because Samuel Jackson has a very unique style of performance where you could be like, oh, he's not really trying too hard, but he is. He's always giving it his all, Sam Jackson, you know? Like, he's always pushing himself. And, like, this scene here, like, he's like, you know, be gentle. Like, why? But it's because he cares. And this little pause where he's like, man, I might have went too far there, you know? Like,
Well, again, the guy he was not assaulting, manhandling.
nice anime.
The guy he was manhandling was in a non-interracial couple. So
Did you know that Kerry Washington does hentai in this movie?
Does what?
I guess
Really?
we're about to find out.
Well, didn't you see a little artworks there?
Which one on the screen?
Yes.
You mean just normal people standing?
The anime style
I'm
drawings.
more Western-inspired anime styles.
Oh, Bartek, thank you. I didn't mean that she actually literally drew tentacle porns. Luke, bring this all together.
Sing us an anime opening.
Yeah, what's your favorite anime, Luke?
Is Pokemon an anime?
You should have chosen Black. What was it? Afro Samurai with Samuel Jackson, which is an actual anime.
Yeah, probably.
Alright, sing the Japanese Pokemon opening.
Go, Luke.
I think it goes...
And
don't
try
know
not to be racist about it.
I don't know it.
Itsu demo, itsu no... I don't know the words.
Sing it in Polish.
Oh, did they actually do... I should look that up when I go home.
Oh, Luke. Bartek doesn't even know anything about Poland now. I guess I do.
Let's hear some more interesting interracial dynamics.
Hey, they're both black.
No, that she's talking about it at school.
Oh, sister and sister this, but they spelled sister E-R.
They should have said...
They should have spelled it A-H.
Or just A.
She should call
No,
it
there's a H.
One-chan.
Huh?
She should call it One-chan.
Is that Polish for brother?
That's Japanese for older sister.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know Japanese now. What's the name of this movie in Japanese?
Lakeview Terrace? I don't know.
I thought you knew.
No.
Did you know Bartek can speak 7 languages?
Really?
All of them rubbish?
All of them
everyone is
fluent,
easy.
though. All of them fluent.
You say you can speak fluently in Japanese.
Fluent rubbish, though. Rubbish Japanese.
Rubbish.
This is a great part of the movie where it's like, who's Beyonce?
Well, Destiny's Child specifically.
Yeah, but Beyonce's singing it.
it's interesting.
It like plays with that whole dynamic of he doesn't want her to listen to things.
Here we go.
He's very 1984.
But without all the cameras.
This came out in 2008.
Double plus ungood.
Yeah, he's inspired by 1984, which is the year that Vice City Stories is set in. More GTA.
But that's not the one he was in.
I know, that one is set like 8 years before that one.
Oh, shit.
Also, another connection, both of them, he plays a corrupt cop, and they die at the end.
Here we go with a great facial.
Now, this
expression.
is the scene. Now, I don't care what you say. I'll fight you all to the death. This is the greatest scene in the movie. On our page, I would just edit this scene and just put it on there and go watch Lakeview Terrace. Because this is the scene where Samuel Jackson gives us the most Samuel Jackson performance of his career. Where he's like, no rules, huh? And just starts like undressing. Now, Luke, were you praying to see some Samuel Jackson dick?
Not really, no. I was kind of hoping that this situation would diffuse. And it did
You mean erect?
not. You say so.
Luke, how could you not want to see Samuel Jackson's L?
I don't know. Somehow.
Samuel L. Jackson.
He's long?
Because an L is like a penis. It's just a line.
I would have thought a D would be...
Hey, he doesn't have a D in his name, does he? It's not Samuel L. D. Jackson.
Well, it's Sam Duell. Haven't you ever
Look, he's taking it off. Now, were you disappointed, Bartek, that you didn't see his erection?
Well, I mean, yeah, but I got over it really quickly.
You just wanked
I
off
like
to
him
the
trying to
idea.
use, like... This is
Whoa,
very
there it is. He's actually got one.
gangster. You know, he's trying to be hip or
And then he's like really intense about it. But not me. I love this. It's a double standard, huh? It's hypocrisy. Like, and he says it so genuinely as well. Like, I reckon you could recut this movie into a movie about a genuine man. Like, remove all the surly, sarcastic moments from Samuel Jackson and just have this recut thriller where it's like he's very, very genuine about everything. He's like,
Well,
I don't smoke.
need I remind you that one of the very
Bam,
first things
there
we
it is.
see in this movie is him praying.
Oh, yeah, but he's a Christian man. We've already established
Yes.
that they're Christians.
Well, that doesn't surprise me
Maybe,
much.
maybe he
The
and
path of
God,
the righteous man and all that.
maybe he and God are pretty close. Maybe they're really good friends.
Maybe God.
Maybe more than friends.
Morgan Freeman should have been in this movie, I agree. Because he played
How
God.
old is Morgan Freeman now?
I don't know. How old is
12?
Samuel Jackson? 12.
1200.
He's the same age as Samuel Jackson. Ageless.
He had like a 1200. Is he like mystical genie or something?
Yeah. You know, in movies like this is where I go, actually give me that phone. I will call the cops.
Yeah, and then here we
Yeah.
see the essential problem.
Like, there's so many times in
call the
which
cops
I
then,
feel
because
like
he is the
phoning the
cops.
cops is a viable option. Like,
But-
all of the times.
Generally speaking, cops will close ranks if one of their number is
Yeah.
liable for
Well,
something
remember
like this.
he's a grunt.
No,
so-
I thought she was a pussy. I thought, oh, that made you throw up? What a weakling. And then my girlfriend's like, oh, she's obviously pregnant, Ryan. I'm like, oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I mean, you know how many women got pregnant when Samuel Jackson took off his pants?
3.
One. Her name's Kerry Washington.
Man, props to Rachel. I didn't actually think of that.
What, that she got pregnant from
Well, we
Samuel
find,
Jackson taking off his clothes
we
in
find
that
out
one
about
scene?
her pregnancy way later, though.
We find out about it, like, in 2 scenes.
We find out about it, like the 1 hour mark. I remember that because at that point, my mama walked into the room and
Is that Polish for mum?
I think so.
Oh, I thought you said you speak fluent.
Well, rubbish Polish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It is. She walked into the room at the 1 hour mark. I paused it to like say something to her. Then I resumed. I'm like, wow, I'm an hour in. I'm barely halfway. It feels like the movie's been going on for so long. Like, there's a lot more to this movie, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. Because we're like getting out of that petty neighborhood part of the movie. We're getting more serial.
The
Serial,
relationships
the
between human
podcast
beings.
about
No,
murders?
no, super serial. Remember, rubbish English.
Oh, you do rubbish. You're rubbish.
I'm very much inspired by the Man Bear Pig episode of South.
Welcome to Spit and Polish Presents, the episode in which this movie's so good that we're just relaxed enough to speak rubbish English the whole episode.
No, not me.
No, I speak trash.
I am
And
a.
Luke speaks garbage.
That's good. Yeah,
So I'm rubbish. You're trash. You're
Yeah,
garbage.
you know, Italian's garbage. Can you
Cabbage.
speak Italian?
No.
Can you try?
Say mi chiamo.
I know the
Say-
stuff that just about anyone would know.
Say one word and say one word.
Prego.
Is that pizza?
No,
No,
mi-
that's you're welcome.
no, it's slang for pregnant.
Oh, she's the prego.
What's the
I learned
Italian
it.
word for chow?
I don't like food.
That was a good one.
I'm very proud of you, Luke.
Thank you.
I am too.
I love how
just
Samuel
so you
Jackson's
know.
watching them. What happens if someone's? What happens if
so
he's
much
soaring?
watching. Oh, he'd just be like, oh, hey, just came over to check my lights.
Hey,
or
I'm just
whatever."
wanking.
Furiously into the rose bushes.
I remember like, look at this. He's looking at the camera. I
You can't see
really
his
think
hands.
you really think that you could recut this movie about an Alzheimer's patient that lives next door, and he's like, I smoke. Like, I don't know. And like when this scene happens, where it's like, you're so different. It's like, yeah, ever since you got diagnosed.
Oh, is this the last time we see the kids?
Yeah. No, yeah, I think so, you know? He never does get to solve the issue with his daughter. So,
Luke was throwing up.
That's true.
Luke's
I am also
pregnant, guys. He is what we call in the industry, chow.
No, prego.
I knew it was going to be... Isn't that a type of pasta?
No.
No, it's Legos, yeah?
I don't know.
Lego's Danish, Ryan.
Oh, I'm sorry. So this movie now, Luke, who is your favorite character? Did you state it was Sam Jackson?
Nah.
Nah.
Kerry Washington is my favorite character.
Is it because she's hot and has some serious nip blast action?
Nah.
You can be honest, Luke. No one's gonna judge you on the podcast.
Luke prefers inverted nipples, right?
Luke's an inverted nipple man like Bartek. I mean, you
No,
know.
well, I am inverted nipple man.
That's your superhero name? Inverted Nipple Man!
I like
Go ahead,
Samuel-
blow wind at my chest. It won't do anything.
I like Samuel
When I
Jackson
go-
here saying, I'm fine. I've always been different. I've never been better. It's like,
Yeah.
which one is it?
What about when your wife was with you?
Now, yeah, he's always been different. When
No,
hasn't
I
he?
mean, he's never
So,
been better.
your favorite character is Inverted Nipple Girl, huh? Good. And
Who's your
Bartek,
favorite character? Wrong.
I already said Sam Jackson, motherfucker. And I also mentioned the, who did I mention?
the Asian lady.
Oh, the Asian lady that we're yet to meet. She's so... Well, we might have met her. I'm just racist. She's so good. Bartek, you still haven't picked one. It's an open question.
I'm waiting for her to appear.
You're waiting to
Because
make
if
the
she-
right decision.
If her dialogue is exactly what you said, then I...
And she says it with an Asian accent, that thick Asian accent, where she's like, "Ah, we have black cop on street." It's so good. It's kind of like, who wrote this? Woody Allen? I mean, jeez. But Bartek,
That's me.
was there a favorite scene? Do you agree the scene where Samuel Jackson takes off his pants and impregnates the audience is the best scene?
Well, it was a very intense scene, and it was pretty much the climactic moment of his daughter's involvement in the movie.
No, it's the last time we see it, basically. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why by default it's her climactic moment, because she gets slapped. She gets both. So I
She
said
gets
both.
striked, as in strike bowling alley, and slapped, as in like
Slapped.
physically beaten.
You know,
Thank
I
you,
got
Ryan.
Hey,
last
Luke,
week.
Yeah.
shut up.
Last week I got like 5 strikes in a row, but the bad news is it was Tekken bowling.
Oh, that was that your mum
That
beats
sounds like
you.
good news, Bartek.
Yeah, it was good. I got a trophy for
You
getting a
could have had
turkey.
a perfect game.
Some serious nip.
A
As opposed to
PlayStation
a
trophy.
pathetic 2.9 or
PlayStation
something.
trophy, I should say, not like a real trophy.
So
Here
here's
we
Sam
are.
Jackson looking mournful. Hey, does Sam Jackson remind you of someone who looks like a human version of a dog?
Sorry, repeat the
No.
question.
You know how some people look like animals?
Oh,
I think Sam Jackson looks like a dog.
what kind of dog?
A sad dog.
An old sad dog.
Yeah, kind of like, you know, what's the ones with the big floppy ears?
Bartek.
I don't know, dogs, Jack Russell, I don't know.
Dog expert Bart. We're cutting over from Spin Polish to dog expert Bartek.
Hello, I will read out my notes about the dogs. Let's see. Alright, I don't know how dogs work exactly, but I think the dogs with the ears would be the King something Terriers.
Oh, so Sam Jackson's a king, alright? A king in the
Yes.
bedroom and the king on the screen.
He's a King Window Terrier.
This is interesting because he's trying to justify himself much the same way he would justify himself to
a dog
Patrick or
expert.
other dude. And,
Yeah.
but it's not working because
They're professionals.
Yeah. have
He's
authority.
misunderstood.
So, dog expert Bartek,
Oh, yes, but...
what's your favorite dog?
My favorite dog, it is my father in Poland has 2 dogs.
And which one's your favorite?
They're the same breed. They're Elmo and Lola.
I didn't know there was a breed of dog called
No,
Elmo
they
and
are the
Lola.
King something Spaniel.
Oh, Spaniel now, huh?
King something Spaniel. I like
Ah,
them.
my favorite dog type, King something Spaniel.
But he also has a little Russian grey cat, a Russian blue cat.
Yeah,
I'm
but cats
sorry.
suck, isn't that right? Because you're a dog expert.
And he goes meow, and he likes to sleep.
Why are you giving us more information about cats than dogs, dog expert?
Because I don't know how dogs work.
Well, they bark and poop and wee. And that's about the end of dogs, really. I think there's nothing... Oh, they fetch stuff if you throw
Meow
something...
meow, I like the Neko-chan.
that is a cat unless I'm much mistaken.
Bartek, the cat expert.
Did I say meow meow? I
You
meant
have to have
meow
at least
meow.
you have to have at least one of these like in a really tense situation, and the guy who's making it tense laughs, and then it becomes tense again.
Are you talking
Okay.
about the movie or me?
No,
No,
yeah. We'll have this scene right now. You guys make something tense, and I'll laugh.
Luke, she's got cancer. It's cancer. I didn't want to believe it, but it was cancer. I know. I cried too. I cried too.
Oh, Bartek, you're a funny guy. That's when I'm gonna kill you last.
What is this, Commando?
Yes.
Are you Schwarzenegger?
You're a funny,
He's not Italian. He's
you're a
Austrian.
funny guy, Sally. I like you. That's I'm going to kill you last.
I must break you.
Oh
That was a Rocky reference.
To be fair, it's one of my favorite lines. I will break you now. But my favorite line from Rocky 4 is, whatever he hits, he destroys.
My favorite Rocky movie is, I do believe, the classic. I know we're going away from Unappreciated Masterpiece, but this is Unappreciated.
Oh, it's almost 2 hours
We
long.
might do a Rocky movie. It's clearly Rocky 3, the one with Mr. T. You remember that?
Oh, Jono, that's one of, I think that's Jono's
And
favorite.
he's standing outside the courthouse, and Rocky's there with what's her name? The chick,
Adrian?
and he goes to Rocky. He's like bad about the Rocky. Go, Rocky, I'm gonna beat you in the ring. And then he goes, "You woman!" That's when Rocky loses his shit when he's hitting on his girlfriend in front of him. Like Mr. T is like, "Yo, woman, want a piece of this sex stuff?"
Rocky 3 is the one I'm least familiar
Now that's
with.
an angle.
Oh,
that's an interesting.
Yeah, she's checking her phone with her pregnant vagina. Luke, that's how they give birth out of there.
A question,
Out the
Ryan.
bum.
If you had a bachelor party, what kind of bachelor party would you have?
A Samuel Jackson type bachelor party in which I get my annoyed neighbor and pin him down, record the incident for no apparent reason because it's very obvious that he didn't want it.
I would have a Bachelor of Arts party.
Nice, bro.
So no one would turn up.
Everyone would turn up. And we're going to talk about
It looks like he's not
art.
knocking on the door there. It just looks like
It looks like he was jerking the doors of
Yeah,
imaginary
right?
ding dong.
If there was a ding dong on the front door, he'd.
If it was a
Are
doorbell,
you
it would make
saying-
sense. Yeah.
Are you saying that he was jerking off a big brown thing?
Trying to get hammered, asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, asshole. So this is a movie where, as you can tell, we haven't got too much to say about it because the movie is really
To
self-explanatory.
be fair, we've said a lot in the
But
early
said
parts of this episode.
Nothing. We haven't even dug deep into the Samuel Jackson lair.
Well, someone's already dug pretty deep into this movie. His name is Mr. Ebert.
Oh, do tell me about the antagonist, Roger Ebert.
Yes.
What Roger finally died Ebert had to say about this.
Yes. Luke, Roger Ebert gives reviews out of 4.
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think he gave this movie out of 4?
4?
Yes, actually. He gave
There
it
you
4
go.
out of 4. He gave it full marks.
He is a Democrat,
He,
which I'm guessing is cause for derision.
No, well, you find out Samuel Jackson's a Trump supporter. But you were saying?
his review, it wasn't as funny as the Race to Witch Mountain one. He talked... He really dug deep into this movie. He was analyzing all these moments of vagueness, like questions that are unanswered, things that you can't find an answer to, hence why I said unanswered. Like, Samuel Jackson's backstory, things like, did she actually forget to take her pills? It's been a while since I've read it, and it's basically just pointing out all the moments in the movie
That are unexplained.
that there's vagueness to, like, that can be interpreted in 2 different ways.
Open-ended.
Yeah, if you were to look it up right now, I'm sure it would actually bring up things we could talk about, but no.
And now we have some.
What did Roger Ebert say? Let's type it in. Oh, here it is.
I like this movie. LaButte's always fantastic movies.
I like how Samuel Jackson says saying one thing and meaning another is a Berkeley thing. it's just specific to that university.
Yeah, well, it's only a Berkeley thing. Oh, wait.
Berkeley.
Here's another piece of Roger Ebert review here.
I like the stripper scene. It gave me a stiffy, just like Marcus in the earlier part of the movie where he watched the pool scene.
It gave me an erection, or as I like to name my penis when it goes hard, a siskel.
Lol.
My penis got very hard. Now, some of you might be saying, why did I say this 3 times?
It's because rules of 3 matter in these types of moments of writing. I'm not a robot at all.
Yes.
Imagine if his wife knew about this.
Who?
Patrick Wilson's.
Oh, I thought you meant Roger Ebert.
Well,
She
she does find... No, she's dead.
Is
Thank
she?
you.
She.
Wait, sorry, what did we say?
Is his wife dead?
Roger Ebert.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said Roger Ebert.
Roger Ebert wasn't married. He was only married to one man, and that was Siskel.
Who died in the 90s. Luke, she does find out about this. And
Literally the next scene.
And she's disgusted. Is this
With
the point?
Samuel Jackson.
Now, look, you haven't mentioned this episode, but you said that you didn't get to see the end of the movie?
Oh, but he read about the end because Luke had to rush out to be a serious actor.
That's right.
Look,
Luke's acting in a stage production version of Lakeview Terrace, where Luke is playing Patrick Wilson, the actor. It's like about the behind the scenes of Lakeview Terrace,
Yeah,
and
true.
Samuel Jackson's being played by Bartek, and I'm playing the Asian neighbor.
It's gonna be great. Book your tickets.
Book your tickets now. It's called Lakeview Terrace live in New York.
Can I just say that's one of the best lines of the movie? Break them titties out on baby.
And he said it with a D as well.
Yeah.
Ditties.
Where's my god?
Diddy?
No, I don't. Bartek, you know what? Actually, Bartek, I'm ashamed of you.
What?
Because I thought you were gonna turn around and be like, what, Diddy Kong? And just give me like Mario Kart references and shit like that, but instead you went with P. Diddy.
Hey,
oh, get out of here,
Ryan.
Bartek! You're
Ryan.
no longer gonna play Sam Jackson in the
Ryan,
stage
you
version.
shut the fuck up and do not, misinterpret me. I would make Donkey Kong 64 references.
That's
Oh,
what we
Bartek,
call
you're a funny
breaking tension.
Yeah, I think I said this already.
Diddy actually is my favorite character to play as in Donkey Kong 64.
Well,
'cause he has-
you're a fucking idiot. 'Cause you
But
didn't
Ryan,
mention
he has
him.
the cartwheel attack.
Bartek, can I just ask this though? Do you
Ba-ba-
remember the
Bartek?
Donkey Kong rap?
Of course I do.
Take it
Can
away.
we sing the Babate song?
Here we go. So we're finally here.
Dude, we can't sing it. There's gonna be
For
copyright.
you,
There's gonna
if
be
you
copyright.
know the words you
No,
can
dude,
join
stop.
into.
Stop, there's
Put your
copyright
hands
issues.
Together
Alright,
if
he's
you
right.
No,
If you want to
Diddy Kong-
crack, if you want to crap,
As we take you through
No.
this
monkey
Bartek
clap.
rap.
The Bartek
no.
clap.
Bartek.
This episode's not going to be
Kasprzyszak.
released because the Nintendo's
BK.
going to anally rape us with their
Bartek Kong is
GameCubes.
here.
Oh my god, they're going to beat us to
Okay.
death with all their
Okay,
GameCubes that
okay.
they can't bury.
Hold on, Ryan.
Oh,
Back
no.
into the movie.
Hold on. In all seriousness, can I say something?
No.
Walnuts, peanuts,
Oh,
pineapple smells.
no. We can't
lake
air this
smell.
episode because Nintendo's
It's okay,
going
it's
to get
okay. I accidentally-
Mario to beat us
No,
to
it's
death.
okay. I said
mushroom.
lakes instead of grapes.
Oh no.
So what happened? I wasn't. Oh,
Okay.
did she watch the video?
So the fire's
No.
getting closer.
The fire's getting
Oh no,
closer.
look, this is where she gets the video.
The fire ray is getting closer to her loins.
And there's a kiss mark on the disc.
From Samuel Jackson. When they have put
Actually,
lipstick
it's-
on
yeah,
and he
that's
did it himself because
should-
he couldn't get the obvious.
We should have
stripper to
asked
do it.
Roger Ebert who did the kiss mark, and he'd be like,
It
"That's
was
another
my
vague
good
thing."
friend, The Rock Johnson. He sent me
Rock the Dwayne
food in the
Johnson.
mail one time, and
Was it Dwayne though, or a different Rock Johnson?
it was just The Rock Johnson because he's a
Okay.
porn actor.
Okay.
No, Roger Ebert knows a lot of porn actors. I
No,
feel
look, there's the kissy mark.
it's actually not lips from the face.
Yeah, I got another look at it. And I'm like, actually, that doesn't really look like generic lips.
It's
Have
3
they
o'clock in the
hired-
morning, and those ditties were not
Titties.
out. I like her glasses. It reminds me of
I
a
hope they-
kid trying to look like a grown up.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what I mean?
I hope they hired real strippers.
You know what I
for
mean by
scene,
that?
'cause
Like, if
income.
she was wearing big girl clothes, like too big for her, like, well, this kind of is.
Oh, like is that a little girl character from Rockin' Bullwinkle?
Yeah. Like a little girl playing a grown woman. How good would it be? How weird would it be if Samuel Jackson had more of a problem with there being an interracial couple than him dating, like him married to an 8-year-old girl?
Like, hey, she's the same race as me.
Now, Luke,
Holy
did you
shit.
get this far?
Yeah,
No.
about this.
Okay. What point did you say to yourself, this is not a comedy?
Oh, by this point, I'm like, this is not comedy.
We haven't had the bar scene yet. But
This is the part where he's chopping down the trees and like jamming the chainsaw against.
yeah,
the-
where he's like literally.
It's like the most bickery part of the movie.
I like how he can afford to spend all this money on trees.
Well, he works at the supermarket.
He's a-
That's
he's a
right.
stock boy.
That other thing of this movie. This is their starter home.
Well, look,
Bloody hell, look at this stuff.
they're rich. They're rich suburbanites.
I
You know,
was
they
in
can
a
have a
mansion
starter home.
yesterday in Croydon.
Do you live there, Luke?
No.
Do you have a mansion built over your other
Ryan,
mansion?
it was just a doghouse.
Yeah.
It was his kennel.
Well, you
it was
say
his dog's
You
kennel.
call it a doghouse, but I call it a mansion.
Yeah. Luke is incredibly rich. For
I'm
those
not
of you who
incredibly
are
rich,
not
my
into
parents
the.
do
Well, okay. Who lives at home?
I do.
There you go. Luke's incredibly rich, and he has a house that's built on top of the dreams of others, and in that house it has a spiral staircase to hope, and it just keeps going. You can never reach.
Someone tried
reach it.
once, and his bones rained down on us one day.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
Whatever
fixed
got
a
him
cat
wasn't pleasant.
Did you? Did your cat break your flaps?
No,
what's
it's
your-
This
cat's
is
name,
more of
Bartek?
an episode of the
Peverelle.
background of the people talking than the actual movie. What did Ryan do yesterday? Good question. I watched Lakeview Terrace. Actually, let's
So did I.
step back for a moment.
Step
I
back to
woke
reality.
up. And then I got up out of bed and I said to myself, Ryan, you've got to watch Lakeview Terrace. And not only you got to watch it for yourself, because I'm really excited. I was really excited to watch this movie.
so far it's the exact same as me.
I was excited. This was possibly one of the movies during this October month I was the most excited for because I knew little about it.
Yeah,
But
same.
also, I knew it had opportunities for us, and I think it has.
Yeah,
and I
same.
woke up and I said to myself, Ryan, what are you gonna do with this beating heart erection right now that we all wake up with as men? And I grabbed it and I said, beat it off to the idea of this movie, and it was worth it because you know what happened? This movie was more satisfying than a wank.
Really?
Put that on the poster.
Yep,
I think
same
that
so
is
far.
probably one of the best reviews.
What about you, Luke? Did you beat off to this?
Nah, but I bit it off afterwards.
Did you
Afterwards, he's an afterman.
did you actually beat someone up instead?
Shut it off. My ass throws a branch.
Hey, this is the most white people problem ever.
Like, yeah.
You got your branches over my fence. I'm
See,
going to
this could
stab
actually,
you
this
with
could
the
actually
branch.
be a funny scene if it wasn't.
It
so
was
serious.
funny. Did you not see the bit where he grabs a rake?
This scene is funny because later it's established that
Get
this
him.
scene is set on the day of his wife's
Bloody hell!
third
He's actually trying to attack him with a chainsaw.
death anniversary.
It's not a chainsaw. It's
not?
a shrub saw.
Oh.
It's a
Chris, have you lost your mind?
Have you lost your... No, get it right. If you're going to act properly like a... It's like, Chris, have you lost your mind?
Right, of course.
Chris, have you lost your mind?
Good
How
on you,
could it
boss.
be? Roger Ebert only gave it 4 stars because he got to play the wife in one scene.
For one line.
In one scene, it's like him with a wig on, in a dress, and he's still got no jaw at this point either. So he's got like no jaw, and he's like,
Roll.
and Samuel Jackson even
Oh.
wore safety glasses for that. That's like my favorite detail of the movie. He's like, hey, if I'm gonna be a motherfucker, I don't want like twigs in my eyes.
To be fair, he would do that. I
No,
think.
it's in character.
Yeah.
Now, this is the point in the movie that Luke realized it's not a comedy. This is the point.
Because look at the dark lighting of this scene.
No, she's just black. Why are you being so racist?
Why you gotta be so rude?
Am I wrong though?
No, you're right. You're completely right.
You know
Now,
what I really want in my home? Those
Fire.
Those little red lamp things they have on the tables.
you mean
What do you-
candles?
Just the holders. Where do they get those holders from?
Luke is so rich that he just even above candles. Like
I
Luke,
think you'd look good with this on your
Luke's
design.
beating me because he doesn't like it when I make rich boy jokes about him. But I just love that Bartek and I looked at each other like, does Luke not know what candles
There's little
are?
red holders. I
Luke is like, in my house, we have light literally from heaven's door.
What did you say
Yep,
about the?
You heard it here, folks.
What they don't have what?
What?
The little red jars.
I want those little red jars.
Yeah, you said they don't have something.
No, I don't know where. I don't know where you get them from.
Oh, I can ask my mum. She buys a lot of them.
Thanks, Bart.
Tech.
No, but I love in Bartek, I love in his house. He's just like, what are candles, mum and dad? And his parents are like, I don't know. Oh, that we didn't live in the Renaissance.
It's true. We live on the light that shines out of.
Wait,
our
but
houses.
Luke's played Assassin's Creed. That has candles.
That does have.
But Luke, just because he's played Assassin's Creed doesn't mean
Oh,
he knows
So
anything.
does that mean
You're
that?
right. It's because I play Dead Space, which also. has
So when you
candles
play
in
Assassin's Creed, do you look at them dreamily?
it. I look at them with an expression of consternation.
He looks at a game like Assassin's Creed and goes, man, I can't believe they're making a movie that's going to be a future episode on the Unappreciated Masterpiece.
Actually, yeah, I cannot wait for that.
I can't wait for the Great Wall with Matt Damon to be on this show. The movie where they build a Great Wall to stop Mongolian lizards.
Yeah. Oh, so that's what the.
Oh
enemy
my
is. I
God.
thought it was one big monster like Godzilla, but.
I thought it was several Mongolian
This
lizards.
is a fun conversation during his backstory.
Hey,
Anyway,
I'm
here
giving
we
a
go.
backstory about me. Here's my backstory. I was born on a full moon, and I was bitten by a
On
Samuel
or during?
on the moon
Yep,
when it was
okay.
full.
Mhm.
I was born on the moon in an egg on a mountaintop. My name is Monkey. I'm a folklore legend amongst the Asian community, which we've already exploited in this episode.
I've seen the anime, yeah.
Anime?
The anime about your birth.
Yeah. It's called Dragon Ball. Wow! How good would that be? Dragon Ball WoW, and it's actually Dragon Ball Z mixed with World of Warcraft. Yeah, you didn't expect that one, did you? My backstory is I had a wife once. She was black. Believe it or not.
Wow.
And one time she was driving in a car with her boss, and I now know for a fact, without any evidence to back that up, that they were having an affair.
Wow.
And he was a white man, so that really upset me.
That is so Pacific Rim.
Is that guy gonna show up again?
Yeah, he's at the next house party.
Good.
Luke, you're in the movie. You know when you're gonna show up.
So-
Look, they sent me the wrong schedule.
At what point did you actually have to leave, like, in this movie?
Pretty much straight after this.
So you left after the
Yeah.
backstory scene, and you wait, Luke. Before you read how it ended, could you tell us how you thought it was gonna end?
Honest to God, I thought there was going to be at least a small measure of reconciliation.
There actually kind of is. But right after that, it gets really more serious.
Right.
So wait, but how do you think the movie was gonna end? Okay, actually, let's all pitch this. How did we think the movie?
Alternate ending?
How did we think the movie was gonna end? Even if it is how the movie ended, what did we think before finding out actually how it ended? Bartek, let's hear from you.
I don't know how much detail I could go into, but I suppose I might have been open to the possibility that there would be no casualties. Like, I didn't necessarily think, okay, someone has to die. Like, in the end, 2 people die.
Okay. What about you, Luke? So you're thinking there was going to be reconciliation
Yeah.
here, huh?
I mean, not immediately after this. I didn't think this scene, because, like, they're fighting again, but,
They're such a married couple, aren't they?
I figured, like, a fire's coming, he might save his life or some shit.
Ah, okay. That's interesting. See, I was thinking, because Luke, you read about it, but there's a point in the movie where Samuel L. Jackson hires this white guy thug
The
to
fat
break
guy.
into the house.
Yeah.
This is how I thought the movie was going to go down. Honestly, I thought that this
Oh, he said it. Fuck you.
motherfucker. I thought that this movie was going to turn real dark, where the fat guy may even rape the wife. I thought that was going to
Yeah,
happen
I'm
because
glad
he
it
went
didn't
in there after she went into the shower, and I thought, oh no, she's going to have a miscarriage. Definitely. There was several times I'm like, oh no, this pregnancy is going to get affected by the fact that she gets fucking grabbed and thrown at a wall.
Yeah, he has, like, a dumb, like, reflex reaction. Like, he wants her to calm down, but he, like, picks her up and throws her.
Yeah, calm down.
It's like
punch.
If you were in the cinema and you were, like, riffing the movie, you'd yell, just run away! Instead of trying to calm her
big
down.
black
And
clouds.
I thought this movie's going to turn real dark, where Samuel Jackson has to go through a real revelation of how, because here's the thing, Samuel Jackson, even with him losing his job most likely, he still at no point realizes how his actions affect others. And I thought it would be a really cool kind of arc for him to learn that there are consequences to what he does, and he is not in charge. He thinks that he's in charge, and I thought if she lost the child, even if she wasn't raped, if she lost the child, because he doesn't know that she's pregnant either,
Yeah, she wouldn't, yeah.
he would feel a tremendous amount of guilt, and I don't know where the movie would lead into after that. And I thought, I didn't think. Oh, here she is.
Yep.
Because they are very bad people who steal and shoot you. But we have black policemen living here. And it is like, yes, it is very comforting. And there's like, it keeps going on. It's great. But and his famous cornbread.
Yeah.
Where's Celia? Yeah, and all this. She's very over the top. And so I thought this movie was not going to end with a casualty either. I thought, hey,
too.
wouldn't it be neat if it became a movie where he gets captured, but it's kind of like, since he's played it so well so far, that he might get exonerated of the crime. And it's that kind of typical the bad guy wins scenario. But not in a ha-ha-ha kind of way, but like, he still gets slaps on the wrist and whatever. And I thought, yeah, what happens if it's this cat and mouse game? And, it's because this here is the turning point.
Yeah. This is another incident of Samuel L. Jackson wanting to fuck around with him, but it messes up. something goes out of plan. The wife decides to go home because he doesn't know she's pregnant. He doesn't know that she's pregnant. You're right, Ryan. That's a brilliant point you made. He doesn't expect that, and that fucks up his plan completely, and ends up with him having to kill the fat guy.
And here's the thing. This scene here.
Yep.
Okay. I actually had a really good idea for this, Luke. I think this would be great filmmaking. I can visualize it. If it was me, I would have this play out with him in the house and the wife in a more cat and mouse situation, and then they eventually confront each other. And while that's happening, Samuel Jackson and Patrick Wilson play this game of pool, and it's like it's a game. Both of them are this cat and mouse game, and it's both power dynamics shifting, and as it intensifies with the wife getting beaten. Maybe, in my brain, it was much darker. And in my brain, like, she has the miscarriage. Maybe she's even bleeding and all that. In that moment, that's when Samuel Jackson sinks.
Well.
That's when he sinks the 8 ball. Oof. Like, he wins. Because in that moment, he's won. Because in his intent, he sent this person over to fuck their lives. And how much would you fuck their lives by actually killing their child that's yet to be born? That would be the ultimate thing. I thought that's an awesome scene. I thought they were setting it up because it's like, you're next. And it's like, and then, no, the alarm goes off and he just shoots him, which is equally cool. See, we mentioned earlier that the second part of why I think this movie doesn't work is the ending. It's a typical the bad guy gets killed ending, which is disappointing.
Did you notice his face there? Like, he knows he's going to go home and probably going to run into his informant. So, like, does he feel bad about it?
Well, he phones the informant. He tries to warn.
Yeah, and what we were talking about there with you sort of being right about a reconciliation is that Chris is very grateful to him for going there and saving his wife. The guy deserved what he got. And Samuel Jackson kind of... Yeah, I know this doesn't play into anything. It's just more being dick.
It means
using his dick.
Less time, less time to escape.
Yeah, he thanks him for it, and Samuel Jackson just kind of like casually, yeah, cool. And then almost immediately after that, he finds evidence that Samuel L. Jackson is behind the whole thing. Yeah. And that is where the movie goes to its serious turn. Like,
you
okay,
now
know,
I have to kill you. Luke, do you know the evidence? Did you read about how he figures out it's Samuel Jackson behind all this?
Doesn't he find the cell phone and
ring it?
Rings is like, hello? Oh.
Yeah. So that's where the Wicker Man point turns in. Like, oh, look, the Wicker Man's great. It's good, bad. But this movie is kind of a redemption arc for Neil LaBute, where this is his follow-up. Look, the Wicker Man's a terrible movie, okay? I mean, it's fun because it's so bad. But you can't go anywhere but up after making the Wicker Man. This movie really went up, and it didn't have any of the traits of the Wicker Man. The dialogue's really smart, the dynamics, and you don't know where it's going to go. And then it gets the Wicker Man effect where it's like it goes exactly where you think it's going to go, and it just kind of gets silly. Like, Samuel Jackson answers the phone, but he's been too smart to do that. Like, it would make sense. Here's how I would do it. If I had to have him answer the phone, I think it's when Luke had an idea that made me think this right now, which is his house is on fire. He's trying to put the fire out, and he gets a phone call. And he doesn't look at the number because he's so stressed out. He might think it's his kids or something. And that's the turning point. But in fact, there's no reason. Why didn't he look?
I love how he's saying just calm down while he's committing assault. It's like, why should she calm down?
Because that's his he's doing that technique which is come here and then pushes you. Come here.
He's a dumb guy, yeah.
Why would you take off your thing? And I love, what the hell, dude? And he just shoots him. It's really cool. Here's something I said about Bartek when I watched this, and it never played into anything. Oh, yeah. So it's not going to be suspicious at all that Samuel Jackson shot his informant.
Oh, no, he would have told on him.
That his partner is also aware of, and that the department is aware that he is the informant. Because that's his informant for crimes.
Yeah.
It's not suspicious at all that Samuel Jackson shoots his informant in his neighbor's yard.
And what?
While he's suspended, might I add.
And, Ryan, what is going to happen in just a minute?
The police all come.
Yeah.
And his partner clears his name.
Mm-hmm. They all know what's going on, but they keep quiet for him.
Yeah. It shows the corruption of the police. Mm-hmm. Now, Luke, you're a corrupt person.
Absolutely.
Do you think that this is good level of corruption? He's digging into the guy's pocket.
At the level of a local police department?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No? Not corrupt enough, I think.
No, I think they're too corrupt.
Too corrupt?
Like, they should not be covering for some man who was clearly not upholding the values.
Well, no, his partner covers for him. That's fair, yeah?
Just his partner.
But his partner is becoming a detective, so it kind of sways...
Yeah, I mean, Joe, if you're going to be a detective, that's a higher level of responsibility.
Police looking out.
I like
for
this
each
old
other.
couple. Like, what's their story? Like, what happened to the old man? How did he break his neck? Bartek?
He tried saving the old couple from the tuxedo from an unfortunate incident, but
They are the old couple from the tuxedo.
The problem was that he jumped in front of them to try to block them from getting hit by a bullet, but he realized that there was no bullet, and when he landed it, he broke his neck. So it was a very foolish thing of him to do.
I genuinely thought that this scene was going to be like, honey, we lost the child.
Yeah.
Because they went to the hospital even.
I didn't think
We've
of
had
that.
to have a slow motion, him running down the hallway type thing.
Ryan, you were very concerned for the baby, and I think that you are a fantastic person for that.
I'm a great dad. Even better than him. I don't have kids, but I imagine I would be better than Patrick Wilson.
Good job, Dad.
Probably.
Thanks, son.
So what is she being treated for?
She's being treated for shock.
Head trauma.
Shock, okay.
Head trauma and
That big
shock.
shiny bump. on
Ah,
his head.
yes.
No, that's not a bump. That's just a pimple.
A few seconds.
What is a pimple if not a bump?
These are the philosophical questions we ask on Spit and Polish. What is a pimple but not a bump?
If not a bump.
If not a bump.
Doth
I
not
think,
pimple out
therefore I
shiny
am.
I am, therefore.
Cogito ergo bump.
Hey, they cleaned the blood out of the pool.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
well,
that
they,
was something that I thought of.
and then Samuel Jackson, look, he's feeling guilty.
I
Yeah?
like how he's just hanging around, like, they don't want to take a statement or
Yeah.
anything. He shot the guy.
See,
And now he's realizing, shit, the phone, I haven't found
Oh,
it.
see, my thought of a narrative possibility here was that Samuel Jackson, his plan fucked up, and he's sort of kind of gotten away with it. Maybe at this point he'll just be like, I should just stop while I'm ahead.
Yeah, maybe.
And maybe they're like, you just accept the thanks for saving my wife. It's like, yeah, cool, just no
Technically,
worries.
he didn't lay a hand on him, so...
You know, I'm still thinking about Luke watching this as a funny little comedy. And even
Oof,
where there's
not
been
anymore.
supreme racist moments, and Luke's version of the story is Sam Jackson learns the error of his ways.
We'll end the movie just before, he gets called.
We end the movie with Samuel Jackson being like, you know what, you white people ain't so bad.
I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a grudging, I guess I'll leave you alone a bit now.
Or grudging, white people.
It's like he'll say, thank you for saving my wife, and then you'll edit in the shot from earlier in the movie with after the I don't smoke, where he got that smile.
I don't smoke.
Where he's got that smile.
Yeah.
It's like,
Alright.
Yeah, crazy Sam Jackson smile. I love this movie.
and the music you'll play is the I can't see me.
You see, this scene would look so much better with a better lighting effect, like a better, sharper, more interesting contrast. Because now there's plumes of smoke everywhere. Like it's smothered in the smoke, and I feel like it's not as effective as it could
Do
be.
you know what the Polish word smock means?
Smoke.
No.
What?
Dragon.
Oh.
Smock is dragon.
What about smoke? What's Polish for smoke?
I was about to tell you the Polish word for ghost, but that's not right.
Do tell.
The Polish word for ghost is duch.
Did you know the Italian word
you.
for ghost? It's prego.
Prego.
Was that even what you said?
No, prego is food.
No, they said prego is you're welcome.
What was
people
it?
People say grazie. And
Yeah, but
the
your
counter-response
joke
is
answer,
prego.
your joke answer to what prego was that food?
No, you said do not chow me. Like,
Oh, what's the
you mean, like,
Italian word
food?
for chow?
And
you're like,
prego
food.
was a pasta.
Yeah, that's it.
And
I
that's
think.
pretty much it. Yeah.
And that's Italian for you.
That's
If you go to Italy, just speak English and then say prego if you want some pasta, and and food if you want some chow.
That's right. Don't speak Italian at all. Just
Here's
speak
something that bothers me about this movie
What
too.
bothers you about this movie?
I think this is a third factor. They never play up the heat. Like they say, oh, it's hot,
Yeah.
but they're not sweating. He's
Alright.
wearing long sleeve clothes.
Yeah, I want a
on-
lingering close up of beads of sweat or something.
On one
like
of the news reports, it said that there was low humidity. Could that be a factor?
Yeah, but when there's a fire at your door, it's hot.
that.
There's
Oh,
smoke. It's
before.
smothering the air. You know what I mean?
I feel like if it was so close, that'd be a problem. You'd have to cover your mouth or something.
Look at him. Yeah, but they're telling him to leave. And he's
is
like,
he,
I'm a motherfucker. I'm not
is
standing.
he too cool to be
Yeah, he can't
sweaty?
drink. He was Frozone, so yeah.
He was frozen, you're right.
It wasn't.
This is his sequel. You know, we all wanted that sequel with the super suit
But
and
Frozen,
his wife.
But Frozen was...
And his wife.
A good guy?
Oh, no, sorry, I was about to say Frozen was with a white woman, but he was with a black woman.
We don't know. We never saw her.
Well,
She could have
sounded
been
like-
Latino for all we
Could
know,
it
or
be-
Hispanic.
Wait, hold on. Does this mean that his wife... was
I'm
having
all you need.
His wife was having an affair with Mr. Incredible?
No, it's not her boss. She was having an affair clearly with Syndrome,
Yeah. The redheaded man.
and he got
You
a
dense!
steering wheel column impaled into his chest. Or it could be. Oh no! Her boss was that Weasley little guy that Mr. Incredible worked for.
Weasley. Wrong.
I'm not happy, Bob.
Yeah, that's the guy from
Why,
Princess
what? Be
Bride.
specific, Bob.
We talked about him before.
Yeah,
Wallace
the
Shawn.
thing.
He's very similar to
Wallace
Gilbert
Shawn,
Godfrey.
He had that kind of voice.
Unemployed.
Yeah, he has that
in
voice.
Greenland.
I'm just gonna say it.
Jetson,
I'm gonna
you're
say it.
fired.
I'm gonna say the lighting's really good there in that scene for her
Yeah.
breasts. Just a fact.
Right.
What? I've been dissing the lighting. I've got to compliment it at some point.
This is unbelievable.
Ryan, your mind is always on Diddy Kong.
I thought you were gonna say your mind's
Yeah,
always on
really
lighting, and I'm like, you're right. You're what? As in,
So much for a startup home. It's about to be a startup cinder.
Now this is my favorite shot in the movie where Samuel Jackson and Patrick Wilson look at each other through the window and the thing when he realizes that it's him.
Oh,
And the fire is just behind Samuel Jackson, and the fire is reflected in the window. I thought that was a really good thing, and I felt like if you had to make a poster for this, which I think the poster is really lacking for this movie as well, it's just Samuel Jackson in his car.
Okay.
I think the poster should be two posters where one is Patrick Wilson looking through the window with a fire and the reflection of Samuel Jackson, and the other one being Samuel Jackson with a fire behind him, looking menacing. I think that would be a great poster. See, basically what I'm saying, Luke, is they should have hired me. I would have come up with a better movie.
I think
This is still a great unappreciated masterpiece, don't get me wrong, but there's a reason why it's unappreciated. There's certain little mistakes, certain little errors, and certain things, whether it's down to the audience or the creators. And this time it's the creators. And hey, someone wrote this. Someone directed it. Will Smith said, he said, put Men in Black 3 on the shelf for a while. I want to produce.
I'm glad he did.
I want to produce this movie. Hey, that's an unappreciated masterpiece. Men in Black 3? Come
Is it
on.
really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a good movie.
It was great. Unappreciated.
Oh, that's a shame.
It had the guy from Flight of the Conchords in it as the villain. How could you not? So,
Dun, dun, dun.
bum, bum, bum.
Boop, boop, boop.
The great thing is that it's still fully charged.
There were 2 new messages. What did you think they were?
I think one of them was from his girlfriend saying, honey. No, one of them's from his boss, and it's like, Snake? Snake? Because we're making video game references
They were
throughout this.
texting. him,
Yeah, no, it's a voice
My
message.
God.
The voice message is like the last thing you heard. That's one of my favorite video games too. The first Metal Gear Solid is
It's fantastic.
solid.
Here we
It's
go.
got 2 endings too.
Does it?
Yeah. the endings determined whether you submit to the torture or you
He's so-
power through it.
Oh.
Well,
And is it a
Time to
good
do
bad
it.
ending?
It's if you submit to the torture, Meryl dies, but you
Oh,
escape
yeah.
with Otacon, so you got like homoerotic things.
that
going
is
on.
actually chilling. He's just like, oh, you found me out.
See, it's really
Pulls out a
chilling.
gun time.
I thought we were talking about Metal Gear Solid. That's really chilling, escaping with Otacon.
Nah.
Hey, it's homoerotic. It's very chilling.
Also,
'cause
they have like,
metal penis.
I'm Hal. What's your name? Dave. Dave and Hal, huh? And so 2001,
Yes, I just
Ah.
want
A
to
Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick, a very unappreciated masterpiece.
No, it's an appreciated movie, Bartek.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
not-
Kojima's favorite movie, I believe.
You know what's my favorite movie?
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Lakeview Terrace with Samuel L. Jackson.
Here we
You
go.
know, this movie really could have benefited from more fights with Samuel Jackson and Patrick Wilson. Now, here's where the limp comes in. I brought this all coming back. Do you guys think he had a limp
Oh,
or a swagger?
Swagger.
Swagger, Luke?
I think he had a limp.
Okay, I think he had a limp too. And I brought this up because I was like, how come Samuel Jackson gets beat down so fucking easy? And my housemates replied, well, he is old. And I'm like, that's not a good enough reason.
Too cool to care.
No, and I went, that's no good enough reason. Then I was like, and he's been limping through this movie, and he is an old cop. Maybe, he's not as quick
shit.
and wily as he used to be, and he does have that as something impeding on his ability to be a full death killing machine.
Really big dick.
He is his big dick. See, now he's full on limping because he's got the shit beat out of him, and I felt like, maybe they played that. Like maybe they built that into his character for it to be this little payoff. Like it's a big payoff, but it's so subtle that you interpret it. Like that's my interpretation, but I feel like that's what they genuinely put in there as a thing. Maybe Samuel Jackson incorporated that into his performance. I don't know, but it makes you think: is it just swagger? Is it just a limp? Who knows? I think it's a limp. I think it's a very smart move on the actor and directors and the writers' part. So that way, when it gets up to this bit, it makes it more believable that he can get his ass kicked by this guy.
Yeah.
Because
he's
old, but he's not too old to not be a cop. But he's old enough to be on the way out and to have long-term injuries affecting him. Like, you know what I mean? Those injuries, those sprains, those twists would be kind of affecting him in this age. So I think really smart. And I really like how this scene plays out, where he plays it as if, the director plays it as if, is Chris going to make the choice? Is Chris going to submit to this ideal of masculinity that Samuel Jackson has been trying to impose upon him? Because Samuel Jackson is not just a racist who hates him and is trying to push him out of the neighborhood. He's also trying to teach Patrick Wilson how to be a man, how to be a person that he regards as a man. And he's trying to sway him to the point in which he was just as bad as Samuel Jackson. Hence, they do that cat and mouse game where I get lights, you get lights, this and this and this, and they dick measuring competitions. And that bartending scene is a testament to that, because Samuel Jackson's like, hey man, let's just casually chat, and tries to get Patrick Wilson to submit to that level, and he doesn't. He has a drink, but then he goes, you know what, fuck you, I'm out of here. Samuel Jackson, character is well written, really knows how to play. But this scene is where we find out whether or not this mental mind game that Samuel Jackson's been playing accumulates to this moment in which we can have our hero turn into the bad guy or not.
And if you had to give it a rating?
5. But don't you agree?
I would say that he's my favourite character, Samuel Jackson's character.
Thanks. What about the Asian lady?
I like Samuel Jackson more.
But I don't know. What do you think? And I like how in this scene they've used the spotlights of the helicopters to kind of make it feel like a game show where it's like
You and your
more
lighting.
See, I'm thinking about dicks. No, see what I mean? Like it's like a game show. It's like, and now to Samuel Jackson to decide, and now to him to decide. I think this scene is probably the best scene. I know I said the one.
Turn-based RPG. It's your turn to
I like how we just don't let her name. Oh, whoa. Okay, never mind.
And this is when they shoot him to death. Their comrade, fellow officer. Another black man gunned down by the police.
Very different death from San Andreas.
How did he die in San Andreas?
He was escaping on a fire truck.
Of course!
Then he accidentally turned off
is
a
his-
bridge and crashed on the ground.
His leg.
That
Is
sounds
that the
stupid.
leg he's been limping on this whole time?
Yeah.
The one that's tucked in? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Huh.
So it's kind of neat, yeah?
Yeah.
And it's like a Christ
In the
imagery.
over brightness, it looked like he was missing the bottom half of his left leg, like below the knee.
So, yeah, we're near the end of the movie.
Yeah, this scene right here, I was like, please don't end here like in
Like
the last
the
movie.
boy next door.
I was like, come on.
Wouldn't it be good? No, it would be better if the two ambulances crashed into each other from the boy next door and this.
Oh, but the boy next door was from last year, so that
Yeah,
means
but
that
this movie didn't say what year it was set in.
this ambulance takes 7 years to get to the hospital.
Boy Next Door didn't state what year it was set in. Definitely not 2006, though, because it had a 2006 minivan. And this movie
Well, I
doesn't
mentioned
say.
2008 as well.
This movie doesn't say if it's not set in 2015.
Oh, good on you, Night Owl.
Maybe it's a future
You
movie.
beat the evil villain.
Thanks, Luke. I like Luke's contribution. Thanks, Night Owl, for doing your job.
Luke, are you
You
reading?
saved the city.
Are you reading your DC manga again?
That's not even DC.
So what if I am Bartek?
Isn't it?
No, Watchmen's not DC.
You sure?
Oh, yeah, I heard Night Owl, and I just thought like Night something.
Ah, fuck it. who cares?
What's that Dick Grayson character name after
know.
Robin?
Yeah, but I know the ones you mean.
Right.
I don't remember. But
Tim Robbins from Zathura.
No, the
Wait, Tim Robbins was in Zathura?
He was the dad.
The character he was
Oh my
in
God, he was the
Arkham
dad.
City.
Jason Todd.
Nightblade or something?
Nightwing.
Nighthawk, man. I think Nighthawk.
Yeah.
I think that's
Submit with your answer, audience. So the movie ends.
Rate, comment, and subscribe.
It ends.
Yeah,
And I think
I see what you mean with an unsatisfying ending. It's like
I think we can all agree that that's the real mystery answer to why this is unappreciated. It just leaves you, meh.
if they
So
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's still a masterpiece, even if it doesn't have a great ending. It's like if the Mona Lisa was how we saw it now, but instead her hair was like a different shade of brown.
she had like a little bit of butter on her lip that she got to wipe off.
Yeah,
Something-
she has
a
a little
little
bit of
imperfection.
cum on her lip.
Thank you, Ryan.
Hummus.
Hummus. Or as we call it,
Hummus.
chow.
Indeed.
So it kind of did end with an ambulance.
It did end. It did end.
With an ambulance.
Like,
That's
I
the
knew
main point
Jason
of-
was his son, by the way. I just knew as it
After a
happened.
point, the kids didn't really show up.
So that was the movie, guys. I will go into our reviews and ratings. This episode has been a bit of a different.
Whoa, the bartender's name.
Coco
Brown.
Coco
That's-
Brown.
That's a great name.
She was a great woman. This episode, I feel, had a different feel. I feel like, we weren't trying to be as comedic this time around because this movie doesn't allow for a lot of laughs unless Luke finds them. It's a real thinking movie, I think. I think, therefore I am. I feel, therefore we are. We've had movies on here that's a real feeling movie. This is a real thinking movie. Bartek, let's hear your rating first.
My rating?
Review and rating. Oh, video assistant was Steve Irwin. Who knew?
It is Steve Irwin.
Crikey!
Hey, the hair department head, isn't that the woman from Pulp Fiction, the taxi driver?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Villa Lobos.
Yeah, sure, why not? Let's all be racist.
Racist.
Racist, you cunt. So, Bartek, let's hear your review and rating about Lakeview
Cunt is
Terrace.
very racist, Ryan. Okay, Lakeview Terrace. It is definitely one of the more... I thought you were taking a photo of me. One of the more serious movies we've
Click.
done on this show. Oh, I thought you were actually taking a photo of me. One of the more serious movies we've done on this show. It's about racism, and I made that joke way earlier in the episode where we compared it to Guess Who in certain ways, and it certainly does look at a very similar topic from that movie in a very different way with very different characters. Like that one had an over-the-top Percy Jones. It had a more comedic Ashton Kutcher, and it had no adjective Zoe Saldana.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't need one. This movie, but since it's based on a true story, I guess it did feel a lot more realistic. It did have this whole, you called it cat and mouse, but I don't know. This is a hard one to talk about. I feel it was a movie that I watched and I was seeing where it was going, and yeah, just basically trying to gauge what's going to happen next. And I guess that is why, the reason why it's unappreciated is that ending, because you're like, oh, how are they going to end it? Is it actually going to be a somewhat of a happy-ish ending? Is it going to go on a full Boy Next Door type of ending? But it kind of went for a middle ground. Let's make this guy whose backstory we have, who has kids, who has all these motivations, let's make him kill someone and just go over the top villain and make it an easy way to kill him. I
Leave
guess.
his children fatherless.
Well, yeah.
Parentless. They're orphans now.
Yeah, they're orphans now.
Well, they got that aunt. I guess she could take them.
That's true.
The evil aunt.
Or maybe in the sequel they can become like Bond villains or something.
Perhaps.
Yeah, it's one of the most genuine movies we've done on this show because it explores racism in a more serious light than any other movie we've done, and I'm really struggling to find words to express
What do you rate it, Bartek?
Yeah, maybe your rating's what you need to do to express it.
my rating.
Express your rating milk.
Okay,
Your rating milk.
my rating.
Yeah.
This movie has style, it has grace, and it's got a funny face.
All right.
Is that your rating, or is that just a poem?
I like the
My
poem.
rating is a poem.
There you go. I like that.
Ex-
My rating is a poem. out of a
Extracted
sonnet.
from the DK rap, admittedly. But that's my rating.
Well, I'm gonna go straight ahead to my review. Luke will leave you lucky last.
Lucky last.
I know I said a lot in that ending sequence, and you're like, haha, and that, no, what's your rating? But I think this is one of the most intelligent movies we've ever done on the show. Now, we've had a lot of movies that are intelligent. All of them have been really smart, really well crafted. And there's been a lot of intelligence in terms of subtlety and all this and character nuance, but I feel like this is the one that really cranks that. The subtlety, the brilliance, the setup, the payoffs, all this. Yes, the ending doesn't work as well as it should have, and it's a bit too predictable, and yes, the lighting could be better. But those are minor nitpicks. But they're answers to the question of why it's unappreciated. Now, this movie has a great central performance by Samuel L. Jackson. He gives you that sense of unease but support. Because he feels like you're supported in the fact that it feels like he knows what he's doing. He's in charge. And that's just Samuel Jackson himself as a performer. He's a performer that can be so relaxed yet dominating that it gives you this weird back and forth unease about it. When Samuel Jackson starts shouting, it's so precise. But then you have moments where it'll be like, I don't smoke. And it just seems like he's so genuine about it. It kind of backflips and front flips at the same time to the point where you realize you're just standing still watching him.
And like, unlike other movies, like his Tarantino ones, if things went his way, he wouldn't have killed anyone. He doesn't want to kill.
And here's the thing. This is one of the few movies in my brain where Samuel Jackson is just playing a guy. He's not playing a killer. Yeah, he's playing a cop. But in this one, Samuel Jackson's just playing a person. He's playing a neighbor. And that's something I find really interesting about this. This movie is really well constructed piece of work. It has that fire that is coming closer and closer and closer and leading up to the climax where it's just at their doorstep, and I love that technique in the movie. The characters are interesting and the dynamic shifts between them to the point where the couple's in charge and Samuel Jackson's not, and to him and them and them and this and this and this. It's like watching a game of chess. Which piece is going to take which piece? Why did they move over there? And that's why I mentioned that they could have had a really great game of pool while, like, in this kind of, to represent that feeling of it's just a game between them. Because Samuel Jackson doesn't take it seriously. Like, he does. He's sabotaging them and all that. But it's just a game to him.
Would you say that his inclusion of the fat guy, his informant, would be
His
like
downfall?
cheating in chess?
Yeah. It's him making the wrong move. Being
move,
too
not
cocky.
cheating?
Yeah, I think it's him trying to do a check before he can actually do it. And then he gets obliterated.
He's going for a check, not a checkmate.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Because, check is before you do checkmate.
Yes.
Like, he's in check, and he's like, haha, I'm going to win this. And then, nope, bam, gone. And that is the brilliance of this movie. It is chess. Because you know what chess has? Black versus white. And this is really important. We haven't talked, we've talked briefly about the racism aspect, and it is very important. It is ingrained into the characters and the situation. The fact they are an interracial couple really plays into it. And the fact that it is a black woman and a white man. Guess who did a very similar thing? Where usually in these movies, it's a black man and a white woman, which can come across more like to us generalized people. We're three white guys. That comes across in terms of how Hollywood has fed us and all that as the more taboo relationship. But really,
Black man and white woman?
Black man and a white woman, because it's that whole thing of white women are so innocent and pure and blah 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 and all that bullshit.
Corrupted
Black
by
men
big
are
black
like
dick.
Yeah, and
animalistic. And
and it's
sexual
a bullshit that we're fed, and then but these newer movies are playing it the opposite way around, where it's like, hey, what if it's a white guy and a black chick, and it's usually the black guys that have a problem with that, like in Bernie Mac's portrayal of Clancy, I was gonna say Percy Jones. He has a problem where it's kind of playing that, hey, black people can be racist and prejudiced too. Usually in movies it's white people, and that's fair. But it's playing that card, and I think that's the ingenious part of this movie. Now, I've spoken a lot, and I've said a lot during this commentary, but this movie really, really hits hits a strong chord with me, and I feel like if those minor changes were done, this movie could have been an Oscar contender, because I feel like Samuel L. Jackson's performance is razor sharp. He really is playing the casual guy, but the sinister guy, but the law enforcer at the same time. It is a cacophony of brilliance. If I have to give this a rating, I would have to give it the only rating that one could with a movie like this, which is a full-term birth from Samuel Jackson impregnating me with taking off his pants.
Is it a boy or a girl?
It is a Samuel Jackson.
So a boy?
Whatever you want him to be.
Anime.
Luke, let's hear from you.
Okay, I'll try to keep it brief.
It's funny because he wears boxers.
Indeed. This movie was obviously a thriller, so you had that aspect of it more than anything else. But as has been previously said, we get the themes in it, racism, whether blatant or latent. Haha. Also, come on, it's not that funny.
The haha was
really funny, Luke. You should believe in yourself.
Another thing, like the fact that they move into the neighborhood where he strongly believes that he shouldn't have to shit where he eats, so to speak. He doesn't like the fact that there's an interracial couple moving into this neighborhood, which kind of lends itself to gentrification, although we don't see a hell of a lot of that. He probably thinks it is, but we have no other frame of reference for it. Basically, what I'm trying to say is this is obviously a thriller. Samuel L. Jackson's character was not a well man. He was obsessive. He was paranoid. He abused his power. But it would still be nice to see that same dynamic, because he believes interracial couples are bad. That is not necessarily so, but obviously there is even though Patrick Wilson and Kerry Washington's characters are very much in love, there is still that disconnect which you see every so often, as in she's saying to him, you cannot possibly understand him, and that is on a deeper level. And I would have liked to see that explored a bit more, but obviously you can't always get what you want. So,
but if you try sometimes, you might just find you get what you need.
Maybe. So, in conclusion, great movie. I enjoyed it. Don't understand why more people don't like it. I would give it a glass of ice and nothing else.
Glass of ice on the rocks.
I love Luke's ratings. They're always like a joy.
Today my review was the lesser of all three, but I'm happy with yours.
Hey, you gave us a poem.
I did.
Admittedly, it was a Diddy Kong rap, but it was a poem nonetheless.
To be fair, it was a Donkey Kong rap.
Diddy's the best. So, this episode, Bartek has accumulated some YouTube reviews or
YouTube
comments. And I've accumulated...
Thanks for trying to make it sound more fancy, though.
And I've accumulated some IMDb...
as usual.
Now, my favorite thing before we start was I got this copy of Lakeview Terrace online, and the comments on there were great. I didn't bring them in, but a lot of them were... Now, hold on, I'm going to be using some really strong language here. I'm going to drop the N-bomb because I've already done it 14 million times on this show. In context, I'm quoting someone else, and it was just basically like, damn, that's Samuel Jackson. He's playing one of those mouthy niggas again. I do not like it when he does that. I wish he would play one of those quiet ones. And I'm just like, this is great. This is great.
Mouthy niggas.
Mouthy niggas. I wish he'd play one of those quiet ones. I just put that accent there because it feels appropriate.
He spoke too much, basically.
So, how do you want to go about this, Bartek? Do you want to read some of your YouTube comments first?
We could, because with this movie, we were kind of serious throughout it. If I read these, it'll probably transition more to a jokey feel.
Same with the IMDb reviews.
Do you want? How should we do this?
Give us 3.
3? Okay, I'll give you. Should I give you some longer ones or shorter ones?
A bit of both.
Okay. I'll start with the shortest one.
Hey, keep it funny.
No. Actually, this one, I'll leave this one for later. Alright. Here's a medium-sized one. I was probably 13 to 15 when I first watched this, and at the time, I hated this movie.
In capitals, I presume.
Yes. In retrospect, this movie is good. I live down the street and around the corner from a cop that I grew up with, a friend who's his dad. He is the only cop I respect. If I get pulled over...
Wait. Can you go back to a friend who's his dad? So, his friend is this cop's dad.
I live down the street and around the corner from a cop that I grew up with, a friend who's his dad.
Yep.
He is the only cop I respect. If I get pulled over, I hope it's him. Props to you, Mr. Brookman.
Yeah, props to you, Mr. Bookman.
10 out of 10.
S.L. Jackson acted like a big prick in this movie.
A big break.
Some great acting there. I was, however, eagerly anticipating this psycho next-door cop to possess a few more malign traits than brushing his chainsaw against a metal fence and ultimately popping a few rounds in anger.
Really?
Maybe something a bit more into the land of the perverted would soothe my needs.
So basically, he wanted a rape scene.
Yes! He wanted to be a pervert.
And one more. And some backstory for this one. I went to a couple of videos to find different comments. This comment was copy and pasted onto all of them by the exact same person.
That's fantastic.
I'm sorry, but Samuel L. Jackson is the F is asterisk, fucking, the A is asterisk, asshole in this movie, for
Thank
exclamation
God we had
marks.
asterisks.
Acting so hostile and racist towards an interracial couple, stirring up trouble and acting all corrupt. Cool actor. Did not like this movie. And this one had a response. At some point in the movie, I have felt like this too, lol. Some actors like Samuel Jackson really get into my emotions.
I'm sorry you feel
Okay,
that way.
I'm gonna give you some IMDb ones. Now, this is from 2008. It's a 7-star review. Now, it is...
I've got 5 more left, just to let you know.
Oh, yes. Now, this is a long review, but I feel like it hits a lot of points, and I've only got a few reviews because the main ones that really hit home for me are longer ones. So, I'll get straight into it. It's a 7-star review. Tout and well acted, but with a nearly unforgivable ending.
Okay.
And this is how, remember, it's 7-star review for the context. 7. Yes, 7. No, I'm not talking about the David Fincher directed thriller, nor am I referring to Samurai, Dwarfs, or The Lucky Number. In this context, 7 denotes the number of wince-inducing minutes it takes for Lakeview Terrace to throw it all away.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Particular genres of movies tend to have a nasty propensity to ruin their final acts, the foremost of those being thrillers and horror movies. May it be an amateur director not knowing how to complete their vision, studio intervention sucking the life from the screen, or the commonly occurring revelatory shocker ending, which tries to jam too many ideas in the viewer's already bleeding sockets.
Oh, please, have you seen Inherent Vice? That's way more complicated.
Excuse me. Already bleeding sockets was where I left this one, so let me get back to it. Oddly, director Neil LaBute's latest offering does not succumb to a conventional destructive timeline, but instead opts to cataclysmically implode in literally the final scenes, a feat which few films can boast. Perhaps I am being an iota harsh. I'm so happy that they use that because I rarely hear that used. An iota harsh, as I am recommending this film, and the majority of this review will be skewed favorably. But chiefly, my unbound feelings of contempt towards the finale should stand as a testament to the standalone absurdity which contrasts harshly with the preceding 90 or so minutes. Samuel Jackson has had a vibrant career portraying characters in 2 spectrums of the acting realm. One side, we have his depictions that can be lumped into the loudmouth anti-hero category, Pulp Fiction, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Snakes on a Plane, and on the other hand, his more nuanced, in brackets, as nuanced as Sam Jackson can be, roles. Black Snake Moan, Resurrecting the Champ, and Coach Carter, for example. Lakeview Terrace, to some extent, blurs this boundary, but for the most part, Jackson plays his role straight, and he's very good because of it. Jackson plays Abel Turner, a veteran, but widowed LAPD officer who lives with his daughter, Celia, and son, Marcus, on Lakeview Terrace in the hills. He is strict, to be sure, and his protective nature sometimes obscures the obvious affection for his children. It is it is touches like this and similar additions by Labute that make his character all the more menacing when the tension later builds, as he is not so much a faceless villain, but a deeply flawed everyman. Despite an encroaching wildfire, things are routine on Lakeview. Abel patrols the neighborhood at night, loves his job, and wants nothing more than to protect his family. Things change, however, when a new couple move in next door. The fact that the husband, Chris, and his wife, Lisa, are interracial is only the fuel for Abel's contempt. And when his children witness a late-night skinny dip by these two newlyweds, the fire erupts, and Abel and Chris's lives spiral out of control. Fashioning Abel as a cop is an intelligent choice, as per the television advertisements indicate. What are they going to do? And who are the authorities going to believe? Who will police the police? Indeed.
Who will police the police indeed?
That's a rap in itself.
Who will police the police indeed?
The tension for the duration is so high. And that's like the end of that statement. Yes, the tension is, yes, it is so high, Bartek. Labute truthfully makes a few mistakes. He allows for character development, and as I mentioned, not just regarding Chris and Lisa, he lets the story develop at a slow burning pace, with hillside fires mirroring the escalating tempers. The story is also far more insightful and caring than I ever would have anticipated regarding the complicated issue of race and marriage, without feeling shoehorned into the thriller template. As you can clearly discern, I have a fairly large amount of admiration for Lakeview Terrace, which brings me to the ending. Few endings I have seen have represented such a radical shift in tone and made its characters undertake such ridiculous and uncharacteristic actions than we see here. I assure you, it is jarring. The immediately preceding acts is an iota off-kilter with the acts preceding, but does not draw attention and properly illustrates the consequences when things are taken too far in the name of retribution. I was fully under the impression that things were going to end sharply until Abel's character jolts erratically from intelligent saboteur to volcanic lunatic and makes a series of choices that are against both his nature and what the audience would want to see transpire. Either Abel lost his mind or the director did. Those who seek out this film in the theaters may be disappointed and feel the conclusion somehow managed to bilk them out of their cash like a sneaky pickpocket. Labute's finale does not so much embody a slap in the face, but a swift, hard kick to the groin. And then he has like, read all my reviews at Simon Says Movies.
No, Simon, I don't think
We halfway through that review yet?
No, that was the end.
Okay.
I told you, it was long, but it kind of encapsulated everything we said in the movie in a really sharp, articulate manner that really kind of cut down all the baggy moments of the movie. That's probably one of my favorite reviews. Like, sometimes it's always nice to have reviews from the IMDb pages that isn't just straight comedy. Like, you know what I mean? We need sometimes to have a more film discussion review. The intellect in the room for when
I brought the other side.
You brought the other side?
Give us one more review, then I'll read 3 more comments.
Alright, it's another long one, Bartek.
Okay.
So prepare yourselves for a 6-star review. Probably the first movie about racism that doesn't just spout tired cliches. 2008, might I add. We've all heard the racism is evil thing preached again, and then preached again. We get it. Racism is bad. I'm not a racist. I don't know anyone who is racist. Why does every single movie have to remind us of something we teach our children before they're old enough to talk? After I watched Hairspray and Be Kind Rewind in the past year alone, I officially had enough. And not only me, at the time, my best friend, who was born and raised in Africa, then moved to the US, said the same thing. Why can't movies just stop beating a pointless dead blood horse?
What's a blood horse?
Is that like a blood knight's horse?
They just say, why can't they stop beating a pointless dead blood horse? Like, even they have a question mark after blood horse. I know they're asking a question, but they're not too sure. If someone is racist, I doubt a movie is going to change their mind. Then out of nowhere, Lakeview Terrace comes along and defies every cliche you thought you knew about racism movies. And that is really all I have to say about the topic. Thank God that anyone in Hollywood gets that we're sick of being force-fed cliches. Why is Lakeview Terrace cliche defying? It focuses on the grey area, and they wrote area A-R-I-A.
Aria.
That's
That's like a music term.
On the grey area of racism, not black and white. It focuses on racism held by blacks, not by whites. It veers so far from the racism is evil standpoint and makes you make up your own mind about the over-the-top plot and who was right, who was wrong. It's been so long since Hollywood actually let the audience make up their own mind. This is like a breath of fresh air. Lakeview Terrace is labeled as a thriller, which is half true. The first half builds up the social boundaries of real life, testing them and then building them up stronger. It doesn't jump straight into the action, but soaks you in reality before plunging into the over-the-top ending. When the action starts near the ending, it is really worth the wait because it has you in a state of social tension. Anyone who says this isn't realistic doesn't understand realistic human behavior. Even in the most outrageous parts of the film, there was not a single thing done by anyone that was hard for me to believe could happen in real life. Maybe that's because I have a lot of cops in my family, or maybe it's because I'm just more tuned into reality than the optimistic, happy, humans are perfect people that are reviewing this film and calling it unrealistic. The directing, writing, and technical details are all fine. They're not artistic or fine cinema, but they're done in a way that makes the film work. The acting from Samuel L. Jackson is flawless. The casting from certain other characters is a little off, but it works out in the end. Overall, I like Lakeview Terrace a lot. I'm the kind of person who loves thrillers, but as I said, this really isn't a thriller as much as a drama with a more thriller-like ending and some thriller-like scenes scattered throughout. It's a nice break from the unintelligent mess that has become an anti-racism subgenre, and a nice break from intense hardcore horror and action movies I enjoy watching. With that said, it didn't bore me, which really surprised me. Lakeview Terrace isn't perfect. It's not a work of art, but it's intelligent. I found it very much worth watching. 6 out of 10.
Cool. So I've got 3 more comments to read, then you'll do your last 2 reviews, and I'll do my last 2 comments.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, when I'm loud, that's when it's all caps.
Thank you, Bartek.
This is where I was born! Lakeview Terrace, California! They actually made a movie about where I was born! Wow! Ha ha ha! Man. Nice!
That's it.
Nice!
That person's excited.
Okay. WTF. So it's okay if a black guy screws a white girl, but if a white guy screws a black girl, holy F, the shit has hit the fan, lol. Come on, man, let them be, Sam. You so funny, Sam.
Sam, come on, Sam.
No punctuation there. And one more before Ryan finishes his reviews. And, I just want to remind everyone, this film was produced by Will Smith. Google says this movie has Will Smith in it. Does Google think any black actor is Will Smith? Some racist they are. This is the 3rd movie it said so far. Again, no punctuation.
Is that last one?
For now, yes.
Read another one because I found out I have another review.
I've got the longest and the shortest left.
Give us the shortest. Because I'm enjoying this.
I don't like black cops.
That's it.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay, I have a 7-star review one here called Surprisingly Different Than What I Expected from 2009. Now, watch out, guys. This has spoilers. Okay, so watch out. When I saw the trailers, I still didn't know what it was supposed to be, so I wasn't interested. But when my brother recommended it to me, I decided I'd watch it. I watched it, and I was surprised. I thought it would be more generic, but it wasn't. I was glad to see that the issue in there, racism, wasn't used as most people would use it. It showed that there are more types of racism than just one. Also, the acting was believable. The movie was chilling. Not scary, just chilling. A thing I didn't like about it, though, was the ending. I thought they could at least work it out in some way. Instead, children were left fatherless. So the movie received a 7 out of 10 for being a little bit different, but not too different. And then, we got a 10-star review on, guys.
Yeah.
This is from 2009. It's called The Storyline. 10 stars. Okay. It is about time there was a storyline based on something so fresh and about the here and now. Let's face it, interracial couples have been around forever and bad police officers have been around forever. At this point and time, someone was brave enough to touch on both character types and make a real story out of it.
His name is Neil LaBute.
There is a nice twist in the story that does make you sit on the edge of your chair. Thank you to the writer for sticking his neck out on this one.
Why are you acting like his whole career was going to take
Wait. Now remember, it's been reality for this review so far. Thanks for the writer for sticking his neck out on this, out there. Adult entertainment, nothing dry, weak nor fueled with warm and fuzzies. You have my vote.
What was it last word?
You have my vote.
Oh,
No, that's the end. That's the end of that statement. Just you have my vote. Wait. Oh god, poop happens. Most of us think it would happen if you had a successful couple, whom this is in brackets, whom could have been the color of green. The issue, then end brackets. The issue is character, and this movie told it. I will stop there and let the audience be the judge. Again, bravo! Did you like that?
Yep.
It started out like it was in our reality, but then it went to that parallel universe, and I got the last one here.
Yep.
Now, it's great. I read it, and I was like, Bartek, is this from 2010 and from a country that we love reviews from, India?
Yes.
Okay, it's 10 stars. It's called Great Movie and a Must See, and then in brackets, don't see the last half an hour if possible, in brackets.
Oh, good job, Luke.
Oh, okay.
I give this movie 10 out of 10. It is very beautifully directed. The black American police officer's character was very interesting. He might look a bit odd, but with his point of view, he was a Mr. Right Man.
Mr. Right Man? Isn't that an anime?
That was, like the start of each one was a capital as well, so a proper Mr. Right Man. His style of expressing his dislike towards the interracial couple was great. Every moment of the interaction between him and the white, written with an all cap, by the way, like white neighbor was something new and interesting, which kept me attached to the movie, looking for the next interaction. The white man finds himself weaker and accepts this fact deeply inside his mind.
Deep inside his mind.
But still, the struggle of his hurted. He wrote hurt and then like a line, an underscore, and then ed. So the struggle of his hurted ego to maintain his dignity was heart touching.
Heart touching, not heart tugging.
Oh, it touched my heart. I was wondering how this movie might end. I thought maybe this man have some strong reasons of his past for his behavior, and maybe he will patch up with his neighbor at last. But as the movie moved towards the ending, everything started changing. He started doing things against his own ethics, like allowing bachelor parties in the middle of the night inside of his own house. This was something that did not suit his character. I was not aware that still more surprises are awaiting me. Suddenly, he started misbehaving, leaving.
But he's Mr. Right Man.
He's like Dudley Do Right, except
So misbehaving, leaving his decency, and becoming this is all caps, and becoming a monster and killer. He started behaving without any logic, and it became difficult for me to believe that he is the same character that I saw before sometime.
What?
I would rate the last 30 minutes 1 out of 10, or
1 out of
0 out of 10, if that is allowed.
I don't know. Is it allowed?
He needs permission.
Actually, I thought of reviewing this movie immediately after I finish watching it, but I got so dejected that I decided not to see it again. So I would suggest definitely watching this movie because it's worth seeing because of its excellent direction and storyline, but don't watch the last 30 minutes. That's the
Yeah.
end.
Okay.
That was great. But he was Mr. Right Man. He
Mr.
got
Right
dejected.
Man.
It was touching heart.
He was Mr. Wrong
Heart,
Guy.
heart touching.
Alright, so my last comment, and this is the longest one, but it's not that long.
That's good.
This movie is about as heartwarming as United 93. As a white man, the dollar store Denzel Samuel Jackson performance was enraging.
Dollar store Denzel. Holy shit.
Denzel Washington, I imagine.
The part played by Patrick Wilson should have been performed by someone who looks like Woody Allen, like dude after.
What?
Sorry. The part played by Patrick Wilson should have been performed by someone who looks like Woody Allen, like dude after Dollar Store Denzel tells you, "Hey, I ain't down with the mixed couple find a new home. You tell your fucking wife that dude's an ignorant fucking racist, not, oh, he may not be down with our relationship type."
Is that the same thing?
I don't know what happened just then.
After the party where he tells the wife about the butts.
The cigarette
What
butts.
movie is he describing?
After the party where he tells the wife about the butts and Patrick Wilson confronts him after he should have dropped an N-bomb.
What?
And after the AC is fucked up, get cameras. Movie stunk. Screenwriting is terrible. Patrick Wilson was miscast as he could fuck Sam Jackson up, and Sam Jackson did what he had to do for this shit movie. I only blame the writers, director, and producers for this hunk of crap.
This hunk of crap.
Wow.
And I should mention, I didn't include it here, but there were a lot of responses to this comment agreeing that he should have called Sam Jackson, what was it, an N-bomb.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that was it, huh?
Yeah, that's all the...
Well, thank you, the internet, once again. And thank you, Samuel Jackson. I mean, a lot of people have to say a lot of stuff about you, and you're worth being talked about. You guys have been fantastic, amazing, wonderful, superfluous listening people. It has been a pleasure to have you on, Luke, as always. And Bartek, you always keep me on your toes with your dog knowledge. And you know,
Of course.
This is a movie worth checking out. You know, you guys have been fantastic and great, as mentioned. You know, this is the part where I'm like, hey, if you want to leave a suggestion for a movie, feel free to. We have a Facebook page called Spin Polish Presents. If you haven't already, like that page and drop us a comment or two. You know, we don't know if there's a movie that you want us to check out. We may have never seen Lakeview Terrace and never done it before. You know, who knows? There might be one you're sitting there going, when are they going to do that one? And we're never going to if you don't tell us. We may. We never know. So, you guys, as always, remember to be kind to each other.
And look at the time. It's time for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Everyone, today we have Luke on, and it's his 15th question, the $1 million question. Luke, how are you feeling?
I feel conflicted.
Conflicted? Well, you haven't used any of your lifeline. You're a very smart boy. You're going to get that $1 million, and you could use that $1 million to make your own Rosie from the Jetsons.
You know, I think I'll make my own podcast series and buy you guys out.
Cool. We'll get the money back. All right, Luke, are you ready for the final question?
I am.
Okay, question. In the Battle of Sekigahara, Ieyasu Tokugawa led the Western Army. Is it A, true, B, false, C, a little bit, or D, Macho Man by the village people?
I think it is D, Bartek.
Well, remember, you have your 3 lifelinings.
I think it is D, Bartek.
You sure you don't want to use
I
any of your
think
lifelines?
it is D, Bartek.
Was that 50-50?
I think it is D.
Was that call a friend?
Oh my god, I can't.
I don't think he has any friends to call.
Oh,
Doesn't?
I think it is D.
But why aren't you using your lifelines?
I think
I'm making
it
you
is.
I really can't wait to use Luke saying, I think
D.
it is D, to edit it together into whatever I want.
A rap. Can you do
Ryan,
it
I'm
into a
giving
rap?
him offers to continue the skit, but he's not taking any.
He said D. Give him the D.
D?
Give him the D! Give Luke the D! Give it to him! Shove the D down his throat so he can feel it wiggling around in his stomach. Give Luke the damn D in his damn D hole!
Yeah, this has been fun.
He likes macho men.
Is that the answer?
No, it isn't.
What's the
Oh,
answer?
well,
But he
there
has.
you go.
He didn't say final answer, so.
Final answer?
You want to use a lifeline or
My
something?
final answer is I can't wait for the next podcast.
That's not in any of the options.
Jeez, I thought you'd had some fun with call a friend, but he didn't call a friend.
Nah.
Luke just really wanted the D.
Okay, he's not going to buy us out. He picked Macho Man by the Village People for a true or false question. The answer was false. Hey, at the end. He led the Eastern Army.
The end.